Well, hello everybody. Dennis here at Canoehound's Outdoor Adventure Show. Welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for coming in tonight. I appreciate it. I see we've got a lot of people in the chat already, so thanks very much for popping in. We got a pretty good show ahead of us tonight. I got a guest that I've been really anxious and looking forward to having on the live stream, just to get to know a little bit more about her. She's a very inspirational person to me and to many others, I'm quite sure. But before we get to our guest tonight there, we're going to have a few different announcements here. Let's see here. Obviously, the other day, well, not obviously, but to some of you that are on here, because I've seen you guys at the Winter Camping Symposium this past Saturday in my goodness, I'm tripping over my tongue already. This past weekend in Kitchener, we had a Winter Camping Symposium that I had attended and had an opportunity to see 5 great presenters there. Last week's show was kind of based on what I was expecting to see when I was gearing up for the symposium. And we had 5 great presenters there, heard some great stories, and there was a lot of great networking that went on and a lot of great vendors. And I strongly encourage any of you, if you're looking into getting into winter camping, or once the spring season comes, yes, let's look forward to the spring season already. A winter or a canoe symposium or a camping symposium that might be in your area, do check them out because they're a great time and you're going to learn an awful lot. This week, some news about Canoehound Adventures. We kind of hit a milestone, and to me it's a big milestone because I've been working pretty diligently since December on this whole project. And we hit the 4,000 view time hour mark, which means that we were able to file or try to become monetized as far as the YouTube channel is concerned. And lo and behold, 2 days later, we did hit that milestone, and Canoehound Adventures is now monetized. And I'd just like to thank all my followers and my subscribers and my friends and family, of course, for putting up with Canoehound Adventures over the last year, because I have been pretty dedicated to it. And it's just a great thing. And I'm so happy that all of you are part of this. So that's something awesome. For those of you that might be coming into the chat now, if you haven't already done so, please do hit that subscribe button. And if you like what you see later on throughout the live stream, hit that thumbs up button, because it just shows that I'm heading in the right direction, if anything. We are live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. as usual. And just wanted to say thanks. And to, I believe, Brian J., I think I seen you in the chat here. Yeah, you're in the chat there. I've had a lot of people, I've been mentioning that I'm looking for ideas and content ideas and guest ideas to have on the broadcast or on the show here. And many of you have actually sent me emails and let me know who you'd like to see on the show. And I am diligently working on that. And I do have a couple of great guests lined up for a couple of the upcoming shows. One is confirmed solid for next week. We'll touch on that later. And pretty special guest, hopefully within 2 weeks' time. So I will keep you posted on that. If you want to keep up to date on what's going to be happening with the show, get on our Facebook page, Canoehound's Outdoor Adventure Show, and I'll have everything posted on there so that you can keep up to date as far as what's happening with the show here. Our itinerary for tonight is basically, we're going to have our interview with our guest here in a few minutes, up until about 8 o'clock, where we will break off for a minute there, and we're going to do a Canoehound Adventures swag giveaway. And then we'll get back into the chat and we'll open up the panel. We'll get a couple of guests on board so that we can actually open up the conversation and carry on till about 9 o'clock tonight. So with that being said, introduce tonight's guest. Like I say, I've been pretty excited for this. Tonight's guest is someone I started following quite a while ago on her very popular Instagram channel or Instagram account. She's an inspiration to many who follow her because she's not your stereotypical bushcrafter or an outdoors person. She's somebody that's very unique, in my opinion. I'm sure you'll find her very interesting as well. I'd like to introduce to all of you Millie from the Bushcraft Daughter and her mother, Marie. How you doing, ladies?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. I see some light shining through the blinds. Why is that?
Yes, well, for the time exchange, so we're 1 o'clock in the afternoon, as you guys are 7 o'clock, so we are
lunchtime.
Yeah, lunchtime for us.
Lunchtime, because you're located where?
We're located in New Zealand.
New Zealand. I'm bringing you guests from halfway around the world, pretty much. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
And Marie, how are you tonight?
We're good. We're very good. Millie's really absolutely chuffed to be on the show with you.
Excellent, excellent. So, Millie, a lot of people here might not know too much about you. Maybe they've never seen your Instagram channel or your YouTube channel. Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
So basically, I'm 14 years old. I live in Hamilton, New Zealand, and I do a lot of my bushcraft and adventures around Lake Taupo. I started watching probably a few of the bigger bushcrafters like Joe Robinet, TA Outdoors, Fowler, Zach Fowler, and a few of those big guys. And really took an interest about what they were doing. So in January this year, I decided, right, I want to create my own kind of sensor style to that. So I created my account and then started to build on there, and then kind of everything just fell into place.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how long have you been doing bushcraft, like in general? I know you're an Army cadet. Is that correct?
Yes. So I've been outdoors majority of my life, but when I joined Army Cadets in 2017, that's really when the survival skills and all the skills that you need for outdoors I started learning and putting them into practice.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So you've been honing your skills around the house, or do you get out to like forested areas? Where do you practice most of your skills?
Both. Just depends on where someone can take me. As I am, like, I don't have my driver's license. I can't just be like, right, it's a beautiful day, let's go. Everything's just got to work in with my family. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I'll set something up in the backyard. Sometimes we'll be able to go out in the bush. So it just really depends on the time and when can we go. Right.
Now, Marie, you kind of chuckled at that one there. Are you like the taxi mom?
Yeah, definitely. But her dad, to be really honest, her dad is out there whenever he can. And he said to me, maybe a couple months ago, he said, I tell her that I don't really enjoy it that much, but he said, I absolutely love it. So they go for miles together. So, but New Zealand is the most beautiful place. We have bush on our back doorstep pretty well. So, within 20 minutes, half an hour of our home in Hamilton or in Taupo, you can get into some beautiful bush real quickly. So, because New Zealand is a paradise for that sort of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now I noticed, like, with being in the Army Cadets. Well, first off, I must say I was looking through Millie's Instagram account, and I seen a picture of you too, Marie, dressed up in
yes.
Army gear.
Yeah.
Don't know the proper term for that, but anyways. So are you following in your daughter's footsteps, maybe becoming a?
Well, basically, everyone that works within the cadet forces are all volunteers. So it's all predominantly all the people that are in cadets are, either retired, servicemen or people that have been in the Army. We've got quite a few from different parts of the world in our unit. We've also got, people that are taking sabbatical from the New Zealand Army that are helping us in the unit as well. So I think there is just that real service to the community. It's all voluntary. So it's certainly I help as much as I can. I cook for most of the camps. Do as much as I can for the unit as possible.
Excellent. And how long have you been a cadet, Millie?
So I joined in 2017. So 2 years.
2 years. And do you hold a rank?
Yes. So I hold the rank of a lance corporal. So I've just come off junior non-commissioned officers course, which I'm not sure if it's some people like veterans might understand my language. So basically they teach you how to be a leader, how to tank lessons, how to tank people for drill, and general like lead self. So I managed to pass the course and then be recommended for a promotion to corporal. So hopefully at the end of the year, fingers crossed.
Climb yourself up the ranks. Hey, that's excellent.
Yeah, I might be getting a promotion. Fingers crossed.
Wow, that's awesome. And I see, like, Marie, tell me about your daughter. What's your take on your daughter? Like, it's not too often you see, and please don't take this the wrong way anyway. It's not too often you see young ladies taking an interest in what is, I would say, predominantly, if you watch YouTube, a predominantly male. You see, you know where I'm going with that. There's so many, mind you, there are a lot of female bushcrafters that, like some of the bigger names, Survival Lily and back a while ago, Stephanie McGrath, and a few of the others. But tell me about Millie.
Well, I think, as a parent, it's our role to support and nourish them in the endeavours that they want to do. Yeah. And it's been apparent for a long, long time that Millie is, she does better when she's doing something practical, when she's outdoors. And the love she has for animals and nature is just profound. So she has a lot of respect for the environment, and it's sort of become an organic thing that's happened naturally with our family because we spend a lot of time in nature. But I think the key thing for me is the respect that Millie has had for a lot of these people that she's followed in the bushcraft community. And then I think the biggest impact for Millie over the last year has been that so many have reached out to Millie Grace and said, hey, what about this? Hey, what about this? And, there's been some great personal messages like, hey, Millie, I see you're doing this. Did you know that if you did this, this, and this will make it better? Yes. So it's like, I feel like Millie's feels like she's in like a family or a community. It's certainly not about Millie, I feel. I feel like Millie might be the source where it starts from for her, but I feel like it's way bigger than that. It's a huge, would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think sometimes you as a mum and dad have to understand that everyone is wired differently, and put Millie in a practical situation, she'll do very, very well. So
yes.
And I think too, she gives the guys a real good run for their money at cadets, because she's so tiny, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, better not mess with her, because she's she's very, very good at what she does, and she's passionate about teaching others. And that's the one thing I really like about Millie, is that it doesn't matter how old a new cadet coming through, if they're trying to learn how to tie a knot, or how to try and read a map, or how do I do this, or how do I pack my pack so it doesn't tip over. Millie's often, even at cadets as a mum, I'd say she's often seen as one of the first to step in and, grow and show others. So I think for me, that's a huge thing to have in a daughter, and a real sense of service. It's not about her, it's about giving back now.
Right. That's awesome. So as with what I like to see on the show here, I like it when people in the chat actually ask questions so that they can get to know you themselves. So I'm going to post a couple of questions here. One is from a regular here on the show, Mama Bear's Backpack. She's asking, she's curious about the wildlife there in your area, predators, reptiles, insects.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
That's up to you. You got to answer that. I don't know.
So we have quite a lot of wildlife, particularly birds. We do have a lot of birds. The most kind of famous ones you hear about is like a fantail, tuis, pigeons.
Yeah.
Just
there's so many,
kingfishers and all. We don't, because we're in New Zealand, so we don't have any foxes, bears, wolves, or anything like that. to bushes. Yeah, bushes are pretty safe. I actually spiders, insects.
Anything out there that's going to eat you?
No.
Other than yourself, the human beside you, no.
Don't want to run into that person, let me tell you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So, Marie, you had touched on, now this is a question for Millie, but you touched on that a lot of people are reaching out to Millie, whether it's product sponsors and things of that sort. I noticed, Millie, you're doing an awful lot of product reviews. People seem to be really struck by the fact that you are a young lady and you are doing something that is not normal for a young lady to do in all reality, in most cases anyways. So how does that make you feel that people are actually reaching out to you within this community?
It's quite a special feeling, like knowing that, because I'm only quite new to the gear reviews, so you watch other people as well to see how they do it. So it's also a very cool, and you learn heaps from doing a review, and it's just a really cool, exciting feeling, like getting a new product and being like, okay, so I need to test this. What's the pros? What's the cons? What have they done really well to the product? What can be improved on the product? It's just seeing the pros and the cons. So like in the Christmas holidays, in a few weeks, I'll be able to really put gear to the test as I'll have a break. So like there's a few things that I've recently got a new hammock system that I'll be trialing out, which I'm really excited to use. From Warbonnet Outdoors. You may have heard of them, some of you. You're really excited to use that. And I recently got from one of my ambassadors, G-Stove. Some of you may be aware of that. It's incredible, like a portable kind of stove that's small, and it's mainly used winter conditions and snow. And it's just a form of cooking sauce, heating sauce, and just a really cool experience to use. So I've been putting that up in the backyard, testing it, because there's like a little pipe oven, so seeing what temperature you need, that how many pipes before you put the oven on to make it work the best. And it's just all that trial and error before you go out into the bush and you shoot a video, because like they expect, the company who's sending you the gear expects a high quality review with all their features included. And so far, I've not come across anything other than one product that has either failed, not worked properly, or is not a great bushcraft kind of product. But yeah, when I say it's a product's great, I'm not lying. So I've not actually come across a product that has failed or done something that you wouldn't expect it to do. So like knives, I put them through quite a lot, like batoni and stuff like that, to see are they durable, robust, and they've all performed very, very well.
And I think what I really like what Millie's done is when she's trialed something, if something has become apparent to her, or someone that's been with her has said to her, what about this or what about that, she's gone back to the company and said, hey, this has happened. What am I doing? Am I doing something wrong, or is there something, so there's been lots of positive exchanges of information, probably too, because, we New Zealanders are renowned for a lot of outdoor camping and tramping and bushcraft stuff. So I think there's one time Millie was in a hut and there was 26 people in there, and she was working with a product that she'd been sent, and they were just like all around her, like, oh my God, what is that? And so there was so many questions asked. So I think there's been a real positive experience back and forward. And I think probably the thing that we have been the most proud of is that when Millie has received, a request from a company, can you review this, or can you take this product and have a look at it? If it's not in the bushcraft sense, or it's not something she believes sits within the bushcraft community, she's kindly said, oh, look, I really thank you for offering it to me, but, I don't wish to review it. And I think that's gained a lot of respect as well, because people have been like, oh, okay, they've been quite surprised. But like Millie doesn't want to tank anything that is not,
going to be
You're-
used.
Yeah, directly related. Yeah.
Very good. So it's not like you're in it for the free stuff, right?
It's
you know,
like
even myself, I've had opportunities. I've had a few products that I've been approached to do reviews on, and I too have turned down a few different things based on the fact that it's not something I know I would use on a regular basis, or it's not even related to to what we're doing. Yeah, so that's pretty good. That's got to make you feel really good, though, that people are reaching out to you as a 14-year-old to do a gear review. You know, that's a pretty special thing, in my opinion.
Because when I look for a product or find a product, it's like, will I use that? What's going to be the benefit? If I take this product and review it, are people going to be like, that is so cool, I'm going to go buy that? So it's like, if like one of the products here is that I've got is the beer bowl, and this is a product that I would recommend to absolutely anyone because it's so great. Like, it's compactable, lightweight, and usable. So
That's
it's
the pod
like
that we had in your thumbnail, right?
yes, so it opens up to a whole. I'll just pop it up. Goes the other way.
And I think too, I don't know, Dennis, if you are like, if a lot of the young people these days spend hours and hours on technology, and it's quite cool to see that, you know, when you've got a daughter that's wanting to be out and about more.
She could be spending all her time in a mall, right?
Yeah.
Right, as opposed to out enjoying the outdoors. So Daniel Maylot's asking, what's your favorite piece of gear and why? He took that one right off my own sheet here, I think.
Yes. So with the amount of gear that I receive, and that it's quite hard to say what I like, because each time that I get like an upgrade of something or something that's cool, I'm like, oh, this is so cool. So it would be quite tough to choose, because most of the gear that I have, I take with me. So it'd be quite difficult to say. But I've got one of my knives here that was custom built for me by Melno Knives, which was really cool. So he built this knife specially for me. And then as a surprise, when I got it, he engraved the Bushcraft Daughter on the handle for me.
Very nice.
Which I had no idea that he had done that for me. So that was a really, really cool experience to open up and see the Bushcraft Daughter engraved, which I'll have for many, many years. It's kind of, as I said, it's quite difficult to choose something that would be my favorite. Like, I love the G-Stove. That's probably such a cool thing, and like such an incredible idea that these guys from G-Stove have come up with all these tents, accessories for such a small fire thing. And just hammocks, like incredibly lightweight but so durable. Like, as I was putting my Warbonnet one up the other day, I couldn't believe it. It took me a little while to work it out, but also it was windy. But once I worked it out and I took it down and I was able to set it back up, it was less than 5 minutes setting everything up and tweaking all the tensions. So if it's like windy or going to rain real soon, you know, it's nice to know that you could set your shelter up in 10 to 15 minutes and be sheltered.
Yeah. Do you have a particular piece of gear that you carry with you all the time? I know you can't carry a knife around. that would be kind of not all right. But is there something that you like to carry or have with you just on the in case?
Not on my like everyday carry. I tend to, because I'm either at school or I'm training for something. So for my life at this stage, it's not really beneficial for me to carry an EDC on me. But when I go bushcrafting, tramping, hiking, or on a camp, I always have a little pouch that has everything that I need. Goes from lip balm to like a little pocket knife, everything like just a little even necklace sharpener, just every little kind of little things that you wouldn't think of to tank, but they're super helpful. And I always carry a pack of cards with me when I go bushcrafting or tramping. It's just a nice thing to do when you're out or out staying at the hut and you've got a few hours to spare at night, play some cards, have a cup of coffee, and it's kind of just a really nice accessory luxury to tank.
Do you drink coffee?
I drink. I never used to, but I saw all these bushcrafters doing it. So then I did a bit of research on it, and I love a mochaccino, so mixing a little bit of coffee and hot chocolate together.
Excellent. That works. That works. Everybody's got their own particular flavor, right? So that's a great thing.
I think too, Jenna, Millie has to think about when she's carrying, because she's light. So she carries everything she goes into the bush with. So she's only 42 kilos, so she's tiny. So she's got she's been very, very fortunate to have extremely good gear provided to her. And so the quality of the Hidden Woodsman.
Oh, the Hidden Woodsman.
The Hidden Woodsman's gear has been incredible for Millie's frame as well, with being so fine. So everything that she takes with her, she loves, because she's got to carry it. So
I remember when you got your Hidden Woodsman backpack and your day rock there, and the biggest smile on your face. And that was a pretty nice acquisition for sure. I don't even have one yet.
Without Malcolm, I wouldn't be here today. When I was a very small channel, I discovered his products through actually the t-shirt that I'm wearing, Fowler. So Zachary Fowler, I discovered the Hidden Woodsman through him, watching the 30-Day Survival Challenge Season 1, and I saw the Hidden Woodsman day pack, day rock, and I was like, yo, that is actually so cool. So then went on Instagram, followed him, and then I messaged him about one of his packs saying, hey, what's kind of the benefits for this pack if I'm so small? And then he had a look at my page and said, I've not seen such a young girl doing something like this. Would you want to be like an ambassador kind of thing? So we started up this partnership right from when I was a very little channel, and he started off sending me one of his haversacks and some pouches, and that kind of started off the gear reviews type thing, because then I thought, just out of kindness, I would review the products, but like, love this, talk about the features. So without Malcolm, I don't think my channel would be possible at the start. So he was a very big help to me.
Yeah, he does make some great gear, but like I say, the smile on your face, I still remember that was awesome. We've got a few questions coming in through the line here. We got Millie. Do you have a bucket list location you'd like to see or visit?
The bushcraft shows and So I laugh because it's going to cost a lot of money. That's why.
Okay.
When I think it was maybe July, Instagram was going crazy with all the bushcraft shows, the blade shows, and all like that. So I said, like, Mum, Dad, for my 16th birthday, we could take a trip to the US. So I love to, for like when I'm 16 or 18, go over to the US and do a bit of travel around there, visit a few of the bushcrafters, maybe see if I can organize a trip with them, and go to the blade show, go to all these bushcraft shows, and just kind of meet the people that you see on social media. So that's definitely on my bucket list.
Do you see yourself turning bushcrafting into a profession? You want to be a professional bushcrafter?
I would definitely I didn't really think I would reach 1,000 followers so fast. So seeing how fast I got there, it definitely occurred to me that I could do this for a business and I can get paid to do something that I absolutely love. So like Joe Rogan and all like that, with 1 million subscribers on YouTube, you get paid for releasing awesome content. So it's like you get to that stage and it's like you've got a job doing something you absolutely love every day kind of thing.
Who's your favorite bushcrafter?
I think it would be Joe Robinet because I started watching him late 2017, early 2018, and I just loved it's not camera staged, it's just him honestly out bushcrafting, and it's like how he's so honest, like he takes a beer with him out in the woods and he's like the essentials, this is what you need to take, just so honest, not being staged for the camera or not doing things for the camera. It's just him going out and him recording his enjoyment. So I think that's why I really enjoy watching him. It's not just for the camera, it's for his enjoyment.
Yeah, you and 1.3 million other subscribers.
Right? Yes.
Yeah, you know what? I've been speaking with Joe, and I'm hoping to have him on the show hopefully early into the new year. So when that happens, maybe we'll have to get you on. You can have a little meet and greet with Joe on a live stream. That would be pretty incredible.
Awesome.
That's one of Millie's goals. She would love to talk to him.
Yeah.
Huge inspiration. Eh?
He is a fun fellow to watch for sure, and I've learned a lot from him and many other bushcrafters that I follow online too. And you know what? Believe it or not, learn little things from you, and you learn little things from this person. So it kind of grows in this whole bushcraft community or outdoor community. Let's just say let's not bunch it into one bushcraft area, right? Because it can get you through so many different things, whether you're a canoeist or a hiker or tramper, as you would call it in New Zealand. You're going to use them skills throughout your life, and that's a great thing.
And that's very true too, Dennis, because like Millie fly fishes. She's taught herself how to fly fish with her dad. She does a lot of jigging and trolling for trout. She does mountain bike riding. She's got a real passion for the outdoors. She kayaks. She loves kayaks, and she's a little bit envious that she can't get one of these big kayak canoes in New Zealand. She's been looking on Trade Me, but
right. Is that something you don't have in New Zealand? Like you don't use canoes, or nobody uses canoes?
So I would definitely use it. With being at Lake Taupo, there's this massive lake that you can use it, but
it's more kayaks.
Yeah, they either sell them in the South Island, which means it costs actually more to ship from the South Island of New Zealand to the North Island than say I ordered it from like the US or Canada. It's really strange, but New Zealand doesn't seem. And if you find them on Trade Me or something, they're in real bad condition. So it's like if you tried to restore it, you'd be spending more money than you'd be better to buy a whole new kayak or canoe. So it's just something New Zealand, I don't think it's not popular enough to have a big.
It's there, but it's just, it's limited.
Yes.
Well, it's summertime in New Zealand. When wintertime comes, maybe you should try to learn how to make a cedar strip canoe or kayak. There you go. That's the ultimate bushcraft type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got Kelly Camps asking, as a female in this activity, do you encounter sexism or ageism? And boy, did I said that right, I hope. So how do you handle it?
Well, I've actually not experienced any criticism or anything bad, which I've actually been really surprised by. So I've had a few random strange comments that I've just removed, but I've never on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook had criticism comments, rude, mean, or anything about like I'm a female. Everyone's been really supportive, so I haven't had to come to that jump yet. My Instagram and YouTube channel has been blocked a few times as people think I'm fake as I'm so young doing it. So I've had to email, call YouTube, Instagram, etc. to tell them I'm not fake. Like, can you unblock my account, please?
Right.
That's happened a few times. So that just gets a little frustrating. But it's actually been a very not smooth sailing, but in that sense, I've had no problems there, which has been a really great help to me.
Oh, that's pretty remarkable that they would do something like that. All they need to do is take one look at what you're actually doing. It's not like you have a body double in there making a fire, right? It's Well, you know what? You keep standing up for your rights, because you know what? I still admire what you do. This is it's totally awesome. I take my daughters with me once in a while to my day camp, and I teach them a bit of bushcrafty stuff, but they're into the girly stuff. You know, the fact that you're out there and you're doing this stuff, it just, see, I'm happy. I'm happy for you, for sure.
Yeah, I love it. But I've learned, I think when I started learning skills, I tried to do the big boy stuff. So I was trying to do the real cool stuff when I hadn't really had the experience. So then I would get frustrated why I couldn't do it. So then I would rethink and be like, right, you need to go back to the basics. So I got a few books and read those about like just basic bushcraft skills. And then once I had done that and watched some videos, it was very easy from there to understand it and understand why and how things work. So in that sense, that was a really big learning for me. And anyone younger, I would definitely recommend, just because you see the older guys doing it, you need to do your own research and your own learning beforehand. And then you can start kind of copying the bigger people that do it, that have been doing it for years, and then kind of more channel yourself to there.
Well, there are the pioneers in bushcrafting, right? You know, Morris Kohansky and multiple others, and the modern day bushcrafters, as you mentioned, Joe Robinette, and there's a number of others. But you know what? They all started one day, just like the way you started. You know, or the way I started. I'm not a bushcrafter. I'm an outdoorsman I have bushcrafting skills under my belt, which I use when I'm on canoe trips or when I'm out on hiking trips and things of that sort. So, you know, to put that bushcraft stamp on a person, I was speaking with Ralph from Rathwaite Bushcraft on a couple episodes back there. And there's this misnomer that, you know, bushcrafter it's like all in one ball. It's not. It's like an explosion. Right? You can use it in so many different ways. So like I say, you keep on doing what you're doing, because you're doing it right, girl. You're doing it right. Ride Paddle Repeats asking, what's your preferred method for fire starting and purifying water?
So my favorite way for fire starting is a ferro rod. I just find that it's like, to be honest, to be blunt, I don't like mucking around. It's like I just want to, if I want to have a fire start, I just want to do it, get all my firewood and supplies that I need, and then just strike some sparks to it and light. For me, like people do like the old school way with the, can't remember what it's called, the primer or some way. Like if you're wanting to do your skills like that for me just doesn't. I would just prefer to have a fire then and now, and just kind of start your fire. Otherwise, you're mucking around for half an hour, doing all these other ways when you can just have a ferro rod. And yes, sometimes it takes a little while, but I definitely just find ferro rod is a lot easier and quicker to use.
I think that's pretty much a go-to for most outdoorsmen, outdoor people. Have you ever tried a bow drill fire or flint and steel or anything like that?
I'll probably do that when I'm a little more experienced. Again, when I go out, when we decide we want to fly, it's kind of dinner or snack time. So I don't see the point for myself or Dad to be sitting there for a little bit doing a bow drill kind of scenario when you could have a ferro rod and have your fire within 5-15 minutes.
Right. And did you any input on purifying water, or just
so, I do two ways. So if I'm at a hut, I use the fire, so I boil the water, so I don't have to use my own purifier. So we'll boil that until it's fairly boiled. Otherwise, I have a Sawyer Mini, so you just get the water and you squeeze it through the filter, and that's more if we're on the move or you're walking or you don't have the source of heat. That's kind of the two ways that I use.
What's the brand of that one you use?
Sawyer.
Yeah, that's been very good.
Sawyer.
Yeah, that's a popular one for sure. Let's see here. Joseph Russell is asking if you have, let's see if I can get it on no, wrong one. My computer's skipping around here. It's doing some funny things. Let's, geez. Yes. Here we go. No, let's try this one. There we go. Any kind of winter or kind of trips coming up?
So winter trips, that'll be in like 6 months' time. But for the winter, I will definitely be taking the G stove out and taking the teepees out, doing like an overnight to 2 nights in that. But otherwise, the summer coming, I will be doing some hammock trips. I'll be taking the teepees out just on their own, and that'll be more of a kind of relaxed kind of camp rather than a bushcraft, because bushcraft is quite tiring because it's kind of like when I will take the teepee out, I'll kind of be camping more, just more reading a book and relaxing. And when I take the hammock out, it'll be more of a skill of the bushcraft, like gear reviews, kind of that. So it'll just depend on, again, weather, timings and all like that. But I've got definitely a few coming up, and I'll do quite a few day trips. So just going out for the day, putting the hammock up, doing a gear review or two, coming back in and then have a coffee. That'll be good.
Cool. Coffee or a cocoa, yep.
Yeah.
Are you considering a post-secondary education related to what you're doing now?
So where I want to go when I leave school is either to the New Zealand Army or to the New Zealand Police Force. So in that sense, it's kind of like another education of my job or of the current business that I've got going. Definitely the Army will focus more on the bushcraft, fieldcraft, outdoor stuff, whereas the police is more your tactical kind of thinking. So it just depends where my head's at when I'm probably like 18, 19. But yeah, Army or the police, that's kind of where I'm heading. So either or will definitely, my current knowledge now will definitely help then, and I'll definitely learn a lot more when that comes to that point in my life.
That's excellent. Yep. And you know what? That'll take you far. Obviously, that'll take you far.
Yes.
So, Marie, has Millie ever taught you any skills in bushcrafting? Does she have that teachability?
I think the thing with Millie is she's got this incredible ability to sense things and is very intuitive within herself and nature. So it's like being in an environment with Millie. She's like at peace in that environment, and she works out the way the wind's coming and the way what's happening and what's happening around her, and she sets it up in that manner, whereas I'd probably be a little bit quicker off the mark. So it's like learning to it's like learning to be in the environment, and it's to work in with the environment rather than just going, okay, I want to set up a camp here. How can I move this stuff to make my camp? Whereas Millie's very much like, okay, I'd like to put a camp here. Where can I go? Because she always says she wants to leave, like, other than footprints. That's all she wants to leave. She doesn't want to leave anything else. So it's definitely that is mum's, Millie's definitely taught me that as a mum, take your time, look at the environment, enjoy what it is, because in New Zealand we have lots of different types of bush, and it's like sometimes it's very dense and very thick, and you can get lost very, very easily in our bush if you don't know where you are. And so it's I don't know, I think it's more Millie's taught me to respect the environment more. Like, I've always had a great respect for the outdoors. I was brought up in the outdoors myself as well. But I don't know, there's something about Millie that's just like a desire to appreciate it and be in it. And what can I get from it? It could be the sound of the water. It could be the sound of the wind in the trees, and it's like finding your own sense of peace in that environment. Whereas, for a lot of us, it's hard to be, a lot of people have issues with, mental issues or emotional anxiety and things like that. Whereas, for me, I couldn't think of anything worse being out in the bush in the dark. Whereas Millie's like, no, it's fine. It's all good. There's nothing going to get you. It's, just the wind or it's just this. So it's learning to be at peace with yourself with Millie has been great.
Mm-hmm. And so, Millie, with your accounts, like you've got the YouTube account, you've got a very healthy Instagram account. How are your friends with that? Your friends,
Yeah, so I've tried to keep it like away from school because I just don't want, I don't know, people from school on that platform. But a lot of people from cadets follow me as similar interest, and they enjoy it. And I've got a lot of people, a lot of my friends from cadets follow me through there.
They're amazed, eh?
Yeah.
They're like, my God, what are you up to now? Or how did you work this out? Or,
What's your favorite adventure you've ever done?
My favorite adventure.
Your biggest accomplishment being a bushcraft, the Bushcraft Daughter.
Yeah, I would say my favorite adventure was probably the one that I've just done, which was we did Blythe Hut. So New Zealand offers dock huts. The Department of Conservation build these. So they build a track to a certain point, and then at the end of the track, or there's loops, there's a hut. So it's just to create camps for people, trips and all like that. So I really enjoyed the last one we did is we got to explore up a mountain, go to snow, up Mount Ruapehu, which was really cool. And it was just quite nice because there was no one else at the hut. So it was just us and nature around. So that was a really cool experience.
Beautiful scenery.
Excellent. So we have another question here in the chat there from Kelly Camps asking, would you prefer hammock camping or going to the ground?
So it doesn't bother me. So with Army cadets, I've learned pretty quickly you've got to adapt with wherever they put you. So some nights you'll be improvised shelters, so with barely anything. Some nights you'll be given tents. Sometimes you'll be allowed to bring your own gear, so you can bring pretty cool setups. So for me, it doesn't really matter. Hammock camping is really cool. When it's windy, that's when I do get a little bit anxious because I'm like, am I just going to sway? Is something, or if it's wet? Because then you're worried, is the water going to trickle down the straps into the hammock? But it's nice knowing you're up higher, so no creepy crawler is going to come during the night onto your sleeping bag, which I've had happened to me on a cadet camp. We were in very small improvised shelters, and I had a sense to wake up out we were in rural dense bush, and this huge big black spider walked across my sleeping bag. And because I didn't want to give our location away, I didn't scream, but I can tell you, I woke everyone up in our shelter and was like, no, that was not. I hate spiders, so anything that crawls near me or especially onto my sleeping bag, that was not a very fun experience. So yeah, there's definitely been these pros sit on the ground, pros being in the hammock, but I'm not phased either way. I can be in the hammock and be happy. I can be on the ground and be happy. I just quite enjoy both of them.
Yeah, wait till you hit like 30, 40, 50 years old. Yeah, for sure. Geez. Brian Jay's asking, friends of his had a trip to New Zealand and said you could just kind of free camp on the roadsides, etc. Can you tell them a bit more about that? Is that a reality?
Like free camping, so there's a lot of campsites. So because New Zealand's quite a lot of tourism come, so definitely along the central plateau through the North Island, there's a lot of campsites where you can camp along basically by the side of the road. I personally don't think I've seen anyone just on the side of the road in a tent. I don't think so, but
yeah.
I personally don't think that's happened, but
that you've seen.
Yeah, that I've seen. But freedom camping, you can go to campsites, don't have to pay. Go into the dock like go into the bush, don't have to pay. The only kind of pay camping you have to pay is if you go to a hut, you need to pay for a ticket. But otherwise, yeah, there's no, you don't really need to pay to go out into the bush.
Right. And what's your favorite time of year or season to camp?
I do enjoy summer. So at the start of the year when I was just learning, and we'll probably do the same this year, where we go. So these are really cool like bays. So we'll set up camp, and if there's no one around, it'll kind of be you set up camp, you go for a swim, and it's almost like bushcraft and camping mixed. So you have enjoyment and you go swimming and it's really nice, but you're still learning new skills in that. So yeah, I would say summer's probably my favorite time to go bushcrafting.
Excellent. Do you get snow in New Zealand?
Yeah. So I think another reason why I like summer as well is because you don't have to carry all this extra gear. It's kind of a spare pair of socks and for minimalists, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So it's like in the snow, you have to take a lot of extra gear. So your pack can go from being like less than 10 kilos, could be now 20 kilos because of all the extra gear you have to carry with it being wet, snow, and cold. So that's personally why winter doesn't appeal to me as much. And definitely with cadets, I know that the amount of gear that you have to carry if it's cold is sometimes not pleasant. Yeah.
Well, and have you ever done a solo camping trip, or is that something that mom and dad have restricted you from to this point?
So that's kind of been my decision. Like, I would be safe and all, but I just don't think at my age of 14 that it would be smart, I think, to go out and do a solo overnight. Just so many things could go wrong in the proximity of 24 hours. So I tend to either go with dad or a few friends or with cadets. I guess I haven't seen the need to do a solo overnight. So maybe like when I'm 18 or even a bit older, I might decide that's something I want to do. But at this stage, I don't think there's a need for me to do a solo overnight.
Cool. And picture yourself in a room full of ladies your age, okay, and they all want to get into bushcrafting. What advice would you have for somebody that's just starting out? And this could be advice that could be heeded by anybody of any age, but I'm just trying to put you in a room of people around your age group.
Listen to the older people. Like, they've gone through the mistakes, the learnings, and that. So if someone older or more experienced than you gives advice, like, don't be stubborn, just take it, because you'll soon realize when you go to do it, you're like, oh, I should have used that advice or something. And just do your research before you go out, like, because if you don't know a lot about, like, that's why when I do gear reviews, I always research and practice with the product before I go out. Otherwise, you get out and you're like, if it's not working, or say even your shelter has broken, then that's kind of, you make the call, do you leave, etc. So I'll definitely say, know your gear, know your skills before you go out, and listen to advice that people give you.
Now, I know you're a big fan of Joe Robinette, but do you have any other bushcrafters that you really, follow on YouTube so you can actually learn more skills? So
I love Fowler, so Zachary Fowler. Yeah. Love his channel. Also, Chris Thorne, so he's Drop Forward Survival. So he does a lot of cool, like, $20 survival kit or $20 survival challenge, all those kind of things. TA Outdoors, he's quite a traditional bushcrafter, so he builds stacks and houses, cabins, all sorts of traditional bushcraft houses. So I really enjoy watching that, and that's probably the main people that I really, really enjoy watching.
Okay, so with that being said, what's the next big thing you want to learn as far as bushcrafting is concerned? What skills do you really need to brush up on?
I think it would probably be more knife skills, because I think it's just been a knife sharp. It's kind of always been like, be real careful. So I've just never, like, I've done things with the knife, but I've never really done a lot. So definitely like pot hangers and stuff like that I'd like to learn how to do. That just hasn't been a priority for me because I want to get to know the knife before I start cutting into edges where potentially I can cut myself. And when you're out in the bush, cutting yourself is not great because then blood, it hurts, and it's just a pain. So I definitely think learning how to do like pot hangers and simple, like making a bushcraft chair, all those kind of nice, simple skills.
Yeah, because a knife could really get you out of a jam. This is for sure.
Yeah.
If anybody in the chat has any more questions for Millie, please do put it up on the screen. We'll get that on there. We're getting to that time there where we're just going to gear up for our Canoehound swag giveaway. And I know Millie does have to leave the chat in a short little while for another commitment. But the one thing I wanted to touch on too, Millie, before we get into the giveaway is back when we were talking about how people are actually reaching out to you, as far as sponsorships or not, well, maybe not sponsorships, because I don't know if you have any, but people are actually sending you gear and stuff like that. And I know you don't want the stuff just for the sake of getting the stuff for free, but are there any products that you would really like to, like, if you had to represent something in particular, is there something that you would want to represent?
I would say it would probably be Malcolm. Is I already do a lot for him, but his gear, he does it himself, and I give him a lot of credit because to do it yourself and make such incredible handmade gear, like, that is very cool. And I definitely know, like, it is quite an expensive outfit. So in that sense, it's I would say more premium because it's beautiful gear. So it's like when you get it, it's like it was worth saving that money to get it. So I definitely think, it would be Malcolm that I would, if I could kind of represent anyone, it would be Malcolm from the Hidden Woods.
Yeah, he makes some great products for sure. And we got one more interesting commercial question here from Mama Bear's Backpack. Do you have any idea how to get more young people outdoors? Many of our young people are tethered to their phones and suffer anxiety issues while being away from technology.
Yeah, so I spend a bit of time on technology, but for me, if I spend time on technology, I'm either researching bushcraft, watching how-to videos, or like researching stuff. So to get people off, I would kind of suggest I would give them something. So give them a piece of gear and be like, right, go fiddle with it, go see how you work it. And then because they have to think, you're not telling them how to do it, then they really have to think, okay, say it's a ferro rod, how do I strike it? Or do I need to strike the coating? Why is it not working? You've got to strike the coating off it to get sparks. All those little things. And that to get a fire going, that's real rewarding. Like, you've done all of that and now you've got a fire going. And with a fire, you can do so much. You can cook food, boil water, heat source. You've just got light source. So I would say definitely, if I wanted to get more people in, talk about it to people.
Share.
Yeah. If they ask how do you do it, give them a small piece of gear for them to fiddle with. That gives them time away from technology because they got to work out how to use it.
See, with that question that Mama Bear asked, right? You see it all the time, and it's not just younger people, but it's the older people too. Everybody's so tied to technology. Everybody has a phone. I have one friend that does not. He's in his 50s and he does not have a cell phone. And said he'll probably never ever own one. And I'm jealous of the fella, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? The fact that you're not tied at the hip to all this stuff is a testament to your your beliefs and what you like to do. Right now, let's see here. I'm just going to get in. Hopefully, how much longer do you have that you can stay on the chat here, the stream?
Probably half an hour.
Yeah, probably like half an hour, I think, and then we'd probably
Because what I would like to do, I'm going to do the giveaway now, and then we could probably get a couple more people on the panel here. This is the part where we go into what's called overtime, and it's the less formal part. And you've actually been a part of one of the panels before, so we're gonna do the giveaway. Everybody that's in the chat, I've got as usual, I got a couple of Canoehound Adventures and Canoehound's Outdoor Adventure Show decals to get out. We'll give away 2 sets, and just like we do all the time, we're going to everybody hit their caps lock right now on your keyboard, and then I'm going to tell you 2 letters that you can type in, and we'll pick the winners. I've got the winners already written here on a board. My daughter picked the numbers before she left, so let's go with letters BD, Bushcraft Daughter. Let's see a bunch of BDs up on the screen. Millie, you don't have to do it. You're getting some anyways.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
So we'll let the BDs populate here for a second. Letters BD. Wow, here we go. They're starting to pour in.
Oh yeah, here we go.
There we go. So we'll let a few more get up on the screen. If you've already won something, don't be afraid to jump on again. That's all cool, because you can get some extra Canoehound Adventure stickers and you could share them with your friends.
Good.
Just a couple live shout outs there. Some of the people that we actually have in the chat tonight. One of my great moderators, CLC in Florida. She's one of my favorite moderators. She gets in and she does a great job. Keep it up, Crystal. Kevin Callan's just popped in. Mama Bear's Backpack. We got Gary Irwin, Humble Woodsman, Ride Paddle Repeat, Daniel Maylott, Sty North is one of my favorite regulars. Plain Old Chuck, Tyler Wood Bushcraft. Are you recognizing any of these names, Millie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Uncle Guy we saw was there.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Got a bunch of BDs here on the board, and the first one I've got showing here starts at Gary Irwin. So the numbers that we have that my daughter selected are 3 and 8. So number 3 on my screen would be Kelly Camps. And then let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Plain Old Chuck. Plain Old Chuck. So we got Kelly Camps and Plain Old Chuck. If you two can please send me an email with your full mailing address, as I would put it on an envelope to send you your winnings, please do. You can send it to canoehound@gmail.com. For anybody else that's in the chat, if you have any questions or comments about the live stream, I'd love to hear from you. Or even ideas for upcoming guests and topics for the show. So feel free to do that. But Kelly Camps and Plain Old Chuck, please send me your addresses, and I will get your prize out by the week's end. Where are we here? Let me just get back into the normal. So I'm going to post the live stream chat or link, and if anybody wants to join in and say hi to Millie, please do so. And it'll just take me a second to get everything all caught up here. I'm working a Mac here with a PC keyboard, so it's got me all messed up. There we go. So I just posted the link. If anybody wants to pipe in, we'll get a couple of people on panel. That would be great. If anybody has questions for Millie herself, and we can go from there. So Millie, I understand you're skipping school today.
Yes, which was quite a cool thing to skip school. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you could thank me later, and you can thank all of our friendly followers. Here's a face that's regular here on the live stream. This is
Millie.
Uncle Sty. How you doing tonight, Sty?
Hi, Dennis.
What do you think of our guest tonight?
I've sat through the whole thing and never commented, I don't think, more than once.
No.
yeah, yeah, Millie. Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Thank
Very, very good of you. Very good of you. I've I I used to have a bushcrafting camp that I did instruction in, and I really miss that. But now I work with one of the local chapters of the Boys and Girls Club, and
you.
the thing is if we could have someone like you close by, that Boys and Girls Club would snatch you right up. You'd have a part-time job. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Because that, and like you were saying about getting away from technology, that's how most of these kids learn.
Yes.
We'll give them a kit. We'll give them a kit, and we'll give them the general idea what they need to do with the kit, and then just let them play with it for a while. And when they start to struggle, then let them ask us questions to help them accomplish something. But it's best to just let them get the feel for it themselves first to see how far they can take it. And it keeps their interest, and they're not going, where's my phone? Where's my phone? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, that's why, you know what, that's why I really wanted to put Millie on panel here, is because in all reality, it's not often that you see somebody of her age, and even the fact that being female, and I don't like going back to that all the time, Millie, but the fact that you are a female and you enjoy doing this stuff, you know what, I met a lot of people this past weekend at the Winter Camping Symposium, and so many of them women, and I absolutely love seeing it. A regular on our show here is Camper Christina. Here's a woman that gets out there and does it all by herself, you know, and I love it. I absolutely love seeing it, because it takes away that stereotypical. It's not a male dominated thing that we're doing, you know, whether you're canoeing or hiking or backpacking. This is for everybody. Young and old, right? And middle-aged. You know,
put yourself in it.
Sorry, Stein. No, really, it is for everybody. And you know, one of the things I like about my YouTube channel, and I really got the ultimate compliment the other day. I got like one of my first donations, and I don't look for that stuff, and I'm not asking for it, right? But I got one of my first donations sent to me, and I felt so grateful that I actually contacted the guy and said, "Give me your address. I'm gonna throw you some stickers or something, right?" which I did. And he told me, he says, like, I'm doing this because, he says, you inspire me and my wife to get outdoors. And that's really what it's all about. We all want to get outside, and if we could inspire somebody else to get out from behind these things that we're operating right now, being computers or cell phones and stuff like that, it's always nice to get that, know that you're actually inspiring somebody. And that's why I wanted to have you on, Millie, is because, like I say, since I've started following you on Instagram, you've been an inspiration. Like, I find you very inspirational, not only to myself, but to anybody. And I'm sure anybody that's in the chat tonight, just put a thumbs up or a big yay or something on there, just to show Millie that, you know, what she's doing is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I think having like all the older people and also the younger ones say great job is really inspiring as well. Like, it's not just people liking your photo or following your account just because they feel like they have to. It's like they want to. And I gather all of you probably experience you lose some when you gain some. Like, I never really, when I started, you don't think that you're going to lose them as well, but it's definitely something that you learn, that yes, you get a huge following, but you definitely lose some followers. And you just got to accept that as well. You just got to, there's nothing you can do. You can't ring them up and say, why did you unfollow me, kind of thing.
You know what? They'll come and they'll go. And it happens to every creator on YouTube, and it happens to everybody on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. You know, that they'll come and they'll go. And the ones that, and you know yourself, right? Like, I know myself, I've got a very small Instagram account. Yours is pretty healthy. You're probably what, over 2,000 followers or somewhere around there?
Yeah, I'm 1,000. 350 roughly at the moment.
Well, that's like 10 times what I've got. So that's awesome. And you know what? But you know of the people that follow you, like I seen Broseph Russell in here. I know he's a follower of yours. I see him. He's always commenting on your posts. And you know who your loyal followers are, right? And the people that appreciate what you're doing. Like you just take a look here, and I'm just going to put a couple things over your face here, Sty, a bit there. But there's a thumbs up. There's a bunch of thumbs up. There's some more thumbs up. There's some more thumbs up. It's something that's it's very, people appreciate what you're doing, and that's a great thing. And I commend you for doing it. And I know I probably already said this a million times, but I'm happy for you. This is awesome.
Yes, I really, really enjoy it. It's quite cool for me to also see growth with others. So like, I love watching like the Humble Woodsman I saw here, Broseph Russell, and seeing all like them growing themselves as well. All my loyal followers, is cool to see their following grow as well. Like Humble Woodsman just recently hit 11K, so like that's real cool.
See, like here's a great compliment right here. Jen Finley, cannot wait to sit down with my daughter and rewatch this. We'll be following you. There you go. That's awesome.
Yes.
And I think anybody that hasn't already, if you can, get on there. And Millie's YouTube channel isn't a huge channel quite yet, but you know what? I'm sure that a few more people will be following you after tonight there and getting to learn a little bit more about what Millie does as far as bushcrafting is concerned.
Yes, my YouTube channel started a little bit after my Instagram, until I kind of realized that I could do YouTube, but it's definitely a lot more complicated than I thought. Like there's heaps of like copyright regulations, all of that you have to be mindful that you don't think of, and just editing like that takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, for sure. Got room on the chat here for one more. If anybody else wants to pop in right now, don't be shy. If anybody wants to come on and ask Millie a question, please do. Somebody had asked in the chat, and I'm just going to scroll back up here and see if we can find it once again. About asking what do you want to brush up on with your skills right now? What's the here we go. There we go. What skills do you want to learn more on?
Yes, thanks for the question. Like I said before, like quite a lot of knife skills. Just getting a little bit more used and confident with using a knife. I can do basic stuff with it, but I think it's just not being so afraid of the knife. Like if you use it correctly and carefully, it can be a really, really cool tool to use. So creating pot hangers, bushcraft chairs, and creating that real cool stuff. And I think another skill that I'd like to learn is probably setting up stuff faster, to be able to set up a camp faster but not be rushed. To be able to, like, I notice sometimes when I'm on camera, I feel like I have to rush things. So making sure that you set like your campsite up fast, but not like you're rushing. Just in that, because I want to keep my videos shorter, because I feel the shorter they are, they'll watch them more. Rather, if you've got like Joe Rogan and all like that, they are really good at creating content, so people will watch the large video. Whether someone like me just starting it, I feel like you need to have more shorter clips that are really good edits. And that's what I'm kind of researching, working on now, is editing and kind of working on that.
Yep. Welcome to the panel, Kelly. How you doing?
I'm good, Dennis. How are you?
Wonderful. I'm doing wonderful.
Hi, Kelly.
Hey,
Hi, Kelly.
Hi. First of all, I want to say wonderful to see another woman on the panel, but such a young woman who's setting an example for other young women out there. I know, Dennis, you were talking about it earlier. This is really a male-dominated activity still, particularly for anybody who solos out there. Mentioned Dennis, Camper Christina is one. There are a number of women who do go out solo camping, but we're still in the minority. And although, Millie, you may not be soloing yet, I look forward to seeing what you have in the future ahead of you, because I'm sure you'll be joining those ranks of women who are out there, who are empowered and able to be self-reliant, which is really what it is about. It's about being self-reliant. And it's just wonderful that you're setting an example for your peers right now, because we still live in a day and age where women still feel intimidated at the thought of being in a scary situation or a situation that puts them close to men, and the danger of being around men. And it's unfortunate, because we have so much power and strength within us, and I think you're just a great example of that.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree 100%.
I think one thing that's really amazing is everything I've heard on Millie's story so far tells me that it was through her own motivation that the interest in bushcraft grew.
Yes.
And she applied herself to her interest instead of somebody else telling her what her interest should be. She made that choice, that conscious choice, and is excelling in it and learning. And she might be tapping into men with these skills, but what she's proving to, especially to younger gals, is that there's no exclusivity in the outdoors.
Yes, definitely.
It does not matter, man, woman. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's, can you live with the outdoors? Almost anybody can live in the outdoors if they got all the bells and whistles. But can you actually go out there and live with the outdoors?
Yes.
And let it provide for you, and be smart enough to see that. All the people I've trained over the years, I know the guys hate it when I say it on my channel. The women were the most successful. It's just the way it was. I mean, they learned quicker. It stuck with them, and they excelled in everything they learned. And a lot of them guys would go, "Why did she win the backpack?" Well, because she outperformed you guys. I'm sorry, but I don't even want to guess why gals can excel so well in the outdoors if given that open door of opportunity to be able to actually experience it. I'm another one that I'm pro. Everybody get outdoors, and the guys, I tell you what, for every campsite you take, a gal gets a campsite. Back off. This isn't a men exclusive thing here.
You know, something like this whole man woman thing. I'm not sure how many of you in the chat or on screen here right now are familiar with the show, the History Channel's Alone.
Yeah.
Well, you would probably know Millie, because Fowler was a contestant on that show. But I remember my wife and I restarted watching some of the episodes month or so ago, live streaming them, right? Well, not live streaming, but just streaming them. And season 1 on Vancouver Island, there was not one female contestant.
Yes.
Right? Not one. Season 2, they introduced women to the Alone show. And I'm wondering, one, why they did that. They must have got a slap on the wrist for it in the first place, right? But I found it so awesome that the person who was runner-up, and only because of her weight, because of how much weight she lost and the malnutrition and whatnot, what they had to go through, but both contestants were there, was a young lady.
Was that Brooke Whipple?
Pardon me?
Was that Brooke Whipple?
Yes. No. Brooke was on with in season 3 with her husband.
Yes, that's
and
right.
then on season 4, she was a contestant. I'm still working through that one again. Or no, sorry, season 5. But I can't think of her name right now. Somebody might remember and be able to put it onto the chat. But the only reason why she got pulled from the show was because she had lost so much weight. But you know what? Watching that show, she had out bushcrafted everybody on that show, including the winner, in my opinion.
Mm.
Structure wise, the only thing she failed, well, not really failed at, because everybody on that show fails at it, is foraging and finding food, right?
Yeah.
But as far as I was concerned, she kicked butt, and they brought her back on season 5, and unfortunately, she was one of the first ones out because she ended up with a big hook in her hand. So,
yes, I remember. I watched that.
yeah. So, like I say, to say that this is a male-dominated sport, it may be perceived as that, but
yeah,
and I'm not a male activist or a female activist. This is an everybody thing, an everybody activity. So,
yeah, Mama Bear
Yeah,
said that. Yeah, she said.
Yeah, just to clarify though, when I say it's male dominated, I just mean there's a lot more men out there taking advantage of the beauty that we have out in the woods. And women sitting at home and curling their hair, which is great. I like to do my hair too. But we really need to encourage women to get out there, not be afraid. I've had women ask me, aren't you afraid of the men out there? Like, seriously? I'm more afraid of a black bear than any men that are out there. But as women, we really need to encourage each other to be self-sufficient and brave. We have courage.
Yep. And youngsters, like, and I think it's so important, even as us, as adults and parents, to introduce our children into the great outdoors. When I was a kid, and every person my age will say this, as a guy, as a little boy, I was always on the street playing hockey, right? Or I was on my bike, and my parents wouldn't see me all day, and they're calling everybody because I disappeared, right? True story. And only disappeared because I was always gone. I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have a computer. I was outside and I was playing. And you know what? That stuck with me from a young age to be where I am now, where I still enjoy it. My wife says I'm the master of hobbies. New hobby, new hobby, new hobby. And they come and they go and they come and they go, right? The only thing that stuck with me my entire life was my love for the outdoors and doing what I do, which is canoe tripping and not bushcrafting, but playing in the forest. It's like playing fort in the forest, right?
One thing I noticed, because last year with cadets we went to a competition, so 7 of us went to compete, and when it came to the night where we got to set up our shelters and all like that, we decided to do our shelters a little bit differently. So we did a harbour format, and we had 2 hours spare time. We had some rope and some tent poles, so we got creative. So we decided we built basically a fence around our campsite. So we would tie a rope to the tree, put a tent post there, tie it to the tent, and then create this huge fence around our campsite. And then we created all these cool knots through our fence. And the major who was running the camp comes to our campsite, and he said, in 30 years, I've never seen a unit be so creative in their campsite. And so many of the officers were coming and taking photos of us because we had done so many cool things and just been creative with our campsite. Because we just had time spare, so we decided, well, let's be creative. So just those cool things of learning, like who was in charge of our team, he knows knots like the back of his hand. So he was teaching us all these different knots, how to do, what they're used for, if you need to get them undone real fast, how to get them undone fast. And all those skills for knot tying was really cool to learn. And I was the only junior female on that camp, but it didn't matter. It just felt you were all the same.
Mm-hmm. Well, question that popped up a little earlier for you there, Millie, from Mama Bear's backpack was, have you started studying any wild edibles yet?
So wild edibles in New Zealand is not very accessible. So the only kind of thing that you would find in the woods is a little bit of leaves that you can eat. Otherwise, it's like wild blackberries and a few things like that. But we actually don't have a lot of food as such. So that's why I don't think New Zealand, you could do, history couldn't be done in New Zealand, because there's not enough food, you would have to rely a lot on water source or deer hunting or something like that, because we don't, unless you find small stoats, rabbits, and small animals, we don't have like foxes and bears and wolves. So you either need to be deep sea fishing, trout fishing, or rabbit hunting, deer hunting, pig hunting to be able to find those animals. And so for wild edibles, we don't have well, certainly I'm not familiar with them, as I've never actually come across. And we do have quite a few poisonous plants. So I've kind of just always kept away from those, not really. Yeah, I haven't really, because I've read books about wild edibles, but I found it doesn't really apply to New Zealand. There's not the same that's in the books is not what's in New Zealand. So it's kind of just been, finding what kind of works.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can be the first one to write a book on edible plants in New Zealand.
Yeah, that'd probably be a first. I mean, for crying out loud, my kid just bought me a bunch of they're like survival cards that you can throw in a backpack. Got all the wild edibles, medicinal plants, all that. And the thing is, it's for North America. Well, only about a half of it applies here. Half of it you're not even going to find where I am. It's either it's down south in a more temperate area, or it's up farther north where it's bitter cold. And so to have a wild edibles type manual of any type that's regional to a specific area is like gold. You can get your hands on one someplace. And yeah, boy, wouldn't that be a project if she wrote something like that. Do the research and just write a book with illustrations.
Just to answer a question from earlier about the alone, it was Carly. Brooke Martin Gautreau had mentioned or put it on the chat there. Was it Carly? Yeah, it was Carly that I was talking about that almost won season 2 and then ended up out early in season 5. So yeah. Something I want to post here, and you know what? Here's a great compliment from somebody in your own family, Millie. This is what your mom had to say. This is absolutely incredible, and I agree with her 100%. You know what, Millie Grace, your humble nature is a huge blessing to your family, and that's another thing that I like about you is the fact that you're pretty humble about this. A lot of kids can be all over the place about it, right? Wrong term. Yeah, young people or younger people, not kids, because you may be 14, but you're not a young kid, that's for sure.
Thank you. Yeah. Mum and Dad's been a huge support to me because with me being at school, I can't be working. So creating this business has been very on a tight financial thing. So it's like for my website where I record my gear reviews, it's having to find free website makers for me, because I don't have that money just sitting around to get someone professionally to do a website for me. So kind of in the future, when I'm a little bit older and I can work and I can get better camera quality gear, because currently I just use my iPhone, and I found so far my iPhone 7 Plus is the best camera quality that I can get. And sometimes it's still not great. So it's just having to bear with me until I can get some better quality camera and filming equipment. But Dennis, I need to say thank you very much for having me on the show. And I've got other commitments that I need to go, so I've got to love you and leave you. But thank you very much for having me on the show. It was a great pleasure to talk, answer questions, and usually I would pop in more, but I am at school usually, so I can't really say, hi, teachers, I'm going to go watch a live now.
Sure you can. Yeah. You know what, Millie, thank you so much to you and your mother both for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I've been looking forward to this. I know we had to reschedule a couple times just based on the fact that you are still a student. And but the fact that we got this in, I hope everybody has enjoyed having you on as a guest as well, because you please continue the inspiration, and we'd love to see a lot more YouTube videos rather than still photos on Instagram, because and we could actually see your real skill and what you're learning and watch you through the learning process of doing what you're doing.
Yes, I would love that too.
Excellent.
Yes, I'm hoping to upload more videos on YouTube as well.
Awesome. Anybody have any final questions? I know she's got to go, but
just keep up the good work, Millie.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm watching your channel.
Oh.
I'm watching it.
I'm watching too now, Millie.
Really,
you.
give your mom a hug. Thank her for coming on the show. I appreciate it, and you know the reason why, so that's awesome.
Yes, cool. No
Have
problem.
a great one. We'll be in touch too.
Yes, cool. Thank you very much. So have a great evening. I know it's probably, what, 7:30 at night?
7:30 for
It's
me.
8:30 here, so
8:30 here. Yeah, so I'm sure bed will be in the not too distant future for some of you. So enjoy your evening. And yeah, thank you for having me.
awesome. We'll see you on YouTube.
See ya. Thank you.
Keep it up, girl.
Bye.
Thanks. Well, everybody, that you know what, I'm so happy to have had Millie on the show. She's not a huge YouTuber at this moment, but you know what, I think we could all expect big things out of her as she continues to grow within this community for sure. And we have Mr. Kevin Kellen, the happy camper in the house. How you doing?
I wanted to ask you one question, and I was like, sorry, Dennis. I was like, no, Kevin, don't go on tonight because I got all these other things going on. but she's gone now.
There
You know
goes
what?
the neighborhood.
I can get her to answer a question for you.
Well,
I got her email, but
the main thing is I think the topic tonight was fantastic. It was about women getting out there, about other people except men getting out there, youth getting out there. I think it's fantastic, phenomenal. I was like, whoa, this is fantastic. I'm so glad I'm watching it. But I just wanted to ask her what her favorite sunset was. Like
her favorite sunset. Oh
Just to
gosh,
get away
really?
from
If you're
all
answering and you want to come on and answer, or still in the stream somewhere and you want to answer that,
no,
that's a great question.
No, she's got other priorities. She's gone.
Well, that's an interesting question. Why didn't I think of that one?
No, the reason I thought of it was like, here's a young
Thanks,
person
Kelly.
doing incredible things, right? And I think
Kelly.
it's amazing. It's just like, what's her favorite sunset, right? So because at the end of the day, no matter you're woman, man, bi, gay, whatever, I don't really care who you are. And I really don't. I don't even think about those things. It's like, what's your favorite sunset?
Yeah. And it's a good question. I agree, Kevin. Very good question.
What's your favorite sunset there, Sty?
The next one.
The next one.
You're darn right. You get to be my age. The next sunset, that's your favorite. Oh, yes. Yeah.
And Dennis, you know what's a serious question is when I get home and I know that actually we're talking to a youth, so I get tea.
Tea, yes. Martin really got in on me on that one there. Oh, look at, there we go. Marie Johns is actually Millie's mom, and I believe that she just typed in the answer for your question, Kevin.
Oh,
Blythe Hut National Park, New Zealand.
oh, cool. That's a good answer.
Cool.
Thanks, Marie. Appreciate that. Thank you, Millie.
All right, that's it. I'm gone. That's the only thing I was pushing to get in there. I was.
Oh, get out of here.
Let's keep it going until 9 o'clock. We've got room in the chat if anybody else would like to join in.
Walking by, she said, "Kevin, Dad, what?"
So you know what, Kevin? Actually, you can attest to some of this too, because you have a daughter that's roughly Millie's age.
Yeah, that's why.
And obviously, like Kyla's been on numerous adventures with you, right from the time she was an infant, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So how like is she still interested in doing this type of thing, or is it something that right now she's doing the girly thing, or?
Well, she's right over my shoulder, so that's hard to talk.
Hi, Kyla.
No, actually, I knew this would be a normal thing. She's interested in her friends and hanging around with her friends because she's in high school. So, yeah, going out and canoe trips with her dad is not the most exciting thing. So that's all normal. It's great that your guest was actually going and doing the bushcraft. She had, I think she's a little younger. I'm not sure how old was she?
14 years old.
Oh, okay. And so I missed it. I was out. So she had inspiration from her father being a bushcrafter. Is that what's the history of that?
Well, she's a bushcraft. Like I've been following Millie on Instagram for probably just over a year now, or right around there. And being a 14-year-old young lady, she's doing something that, as Kelly Camps had said, is predominantly personified as a male dominated thing, right? And the fact that, like, I find her very inspirational, being a 14-year-old young lady that her main interest is bushcrafting.
Well, I think that's great too. I just don't want, when I was watching tonight, when I just watched a bit of it, I was like, whoa, that's a lot of pressure putting on that person, not as a child or as a female, but a lot of pressure. And she handled it really well. But I just want to know what her favorite sunset was.
Kevin, one thing she did say early in the stream was that she developed an interest in bushcrafting, and her father supported her interest.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, and I praised her for that.
Oh,
the
cool.
fact that this is through her own initiative. This is something she wants, something she is longing for, and her father and her mother, they support her. And he helps her, and he helps her along with it.
Yeah, I saw that. Her mom's sitting right beside her, being all excited about her being on Dennison's show, because you're famous now, man. Look at the fancy mic again.
What?
You know what? I'll send you one, Kevin. We'll get you one.
I'm good.
This thing's supposed to stop the pop.
So I'm glad you said that, Star. So she basically found this interest, which actually a lot of youth, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I remember in my youth, that was my escape as a kid, right? Is to go off in the woods and ride my bike into the trout streams. And that was my whole adventure. So if she's doing that without anybody really pushing her, that's been phenomenal. That's fantastic. So
that's something of old. That's something of old, because when I was a kid, all of us kids, boys and girls, it was a challenge to go indoors. Because we always wanted to be outdoors. Always.
Yeah. I think that's what too. Like, I spent a lot of time in the media talking about the negativity towards youth and what they're doing, the phones and stuff like that. But we always have to remember that there's always positive. Like, I was out in the woods today with a bunch of students, and there was only 2 guys that were actually having problems with social media. The rest of them were fine out of 22 of them, right? So, they're not all like
they're not zombies. They're not technology zombies. I mean,
we all are. We all are.
But they,
to a degree,
kids have free wills, and if you present something to them that catches their interest, they have no problem setting that phone aside. They have no problem I found it in my classes. I had students that were really jonesing, a couple in each class, but the rest of them would just like, well, I'm interested in this, so I don't need the phone. And that's it, is that they've got young minds. They want to be kept interested in things.
Oh, yeah.
And for people to just kind of write off our kids because they've gotten stuck on something we gave them, that too, I keep telling parents, you got to take responsibility too. We've given these things to our children. Now we're complaining that our children are misusing the things we gave them. But we gave them to them without rules in the first place, And so you can't blame the kids. My dad, I loved what my dad had said. He had said it in front of a city council and hit the headline newspapers with it. He pointed his finger at the mayor because the mayor said, we have the 3rd highest juvenile delinquent rate in the state of Minnesota. My pop was the chief of police, and he pointed right in that mayor's face, and he said, this town doesn't have a single bad kid in it. He says, there's some kids that have received some misdirection, but there's not a single bad kid in this town.
Yeah, that's like a scene for Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, really, isn't it? But and that's a fact. You can take some of the worst, troublesome little monsters in the world, and they become very, very nice, respectful young people. You just have to get their interest on something healthy.
So I just invited Jess from Rain Dance Bushcraft on because I had a question for him. You two have a daughter.
Yep.
That you are trying to get very interested into bushcrafting or enjoying the outdoors. What's your take on this whole, the youth, or it just so happens we all have daughters, right? But it could be male or female. It doesn't really matter. But what's your take on it?
Well, excuse me. Camille has an iPad. Okay. She recently had some restrictions put on it. But here's the thing. We're kind of a weird situation in that she decided she wanted one when she was 4. And so then she didn't spend any of her Christmas or birthday money until she had 50% of the price because she was saving up for her iPad. So like whenever I take it away from her, I realize that I only have half the rights to that thing because she spent half the money, And, if she saved up from the age of 4 till almost 7, what kid at that age does that? So I kind of feel like she's earned it, but we haven't had a massive problem with screen time because she likes to be outside. It's like they say, if you instill in your kid a love of the outdoors, like if you caught them before they're 5, it's probably going to stick with them, some mornings, like a Saturday morning, she'll have like cartoons on and she'll be looking at something on her screen. And I sort of like, look, it's Saturday morning, one screen only. That's the only rule I'm going to give you, one screen only. But the thing is, man, a lot of screen time makes her real grumpy. I don't want to like too much information, but man, holy crap. It just makes her real surly. And that's the statistic, by the way. We were at a parents' event at school about bringing up successful children or resilient kids and stuff. And there's a whole lot of stats, about kids and screens. And there's a real reason why guys like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates didn't let their kids have screens until they were, way into teenagehood. As far as the social media thing, I'm bloody addicted. I spend half my damn day making sure that my numbers are up or whatever. I don't know, just looking at this damn thing.
Well, we're all YouTubers. So
and we're all YouTubers.
That means we're addicted, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, are you trying to get Camille out and teach her bushcrafting skills, or do you get her out involved, like to build a bonfire, or how are you trying to break her into it? I know you've made her a beautiful knife.
Yeah, she's good with the ferro rod. She's terrible with flint and steel, but we're gonna put that off. Like I made her a little kit, like when she was 2. Okay, I've been excited about this for a long time, but I made her a kit. She's getting very good at ferro rod. She knows. She's not like an expert, but she has started a fire without me before, like with me standing back and saying, "Child, do this thing." It's hit or miss. She's got an axe waiting for her. The problem is she's one of these kids who, like, when you're trying to teach her something, she's like, I know. I'm okay, we're taking that away from you until you smarten up, kind of thing, because the last thing I need when I'm teaching about a knife or an axe is I know. You don't know. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. So we're going to work this through together. And she gouged herself good with a silky saw with that, I don't know. She was, I don't know, and I wasn't watching. Okay, I'll take half of the blame for that one. Her mother gave me half the blame for that anyway. But look, we're running an experiment, a sometimes uncontrolled experiment. Having children is a 20 or possibly these days 30-year experiment. So all I'm doing is the best I can, and I'm trying to make sure that she's not an utter slave to the screen. Mm-hmm. That's all I can do,
And that's hard to do because it's just all around them right now, right? Like I say, the best you can do is get them out there with you, right? But it's kind of hard to set by example when we're all glued behind these computer screens ourselves, right?
But we go out fairly often. And by the way, I want to say something about this, because a lot of what drives me is to make sure that my kid grows up the way I didn't. Like, Kevin has a lot of experience dealing with what we used to call at-risk youth. And it was only pure bloody mindedness that got me through high school. I wanted to teach a teacher that she was wrong about me. But I was going nowhere fast. And I was on my way to being one of those Kevin, what do you call at-risk youth now?
We still say that, but that's not what you're supposed to say.
No,
we just call them students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but like,
In a nutshell.
a lot of the way I grew up was driving me towards that, and if I'd been able to get out of my surroundings and hit the woods more often than I did, I think I would have been a happier kid. Because even today, if I hit the woods, I'm a happier adult. Right. So I think that's a character trait that I have. And
well, it calms your anxiety. I mean, that's been proven through all the whole bathing in wilderness. I think it's so that's all normal, and we think it's all a new thing. We think it's a new thing now, but it's not. It's when we were young kids. I drove my bike up to the trout streams, and that calmed my anxiety, right? So but man, I did have an office mate though to sort of do the yin and yang thing a few years back, and he refused his kids to watch TV, to do anything to do with social media. This is beginning of social media, and because he didn't believe it was the devil. And I said, well, that's fine, but in today's world, you better teach them this because it's not going away.
They have to grow up savvy, and that hits on something else because I have a friend whose family is doing the same thing. Their kid came over one day and the TV was still on because it was a Saturday morning, and her and her dad walked in, and the kid saw that the TV was on and got panicking. I'm not allowed to watch TV. I'm not allowed to watch. And I believe more in a additive method for making your child unique. Like, give them all the lowest common denominator crap, like let them watch TV and listen to pop music and stuff, but then give them something unique rather than making your kid unique by, we don't watch TV in our house because we're better than that.
Yeah.
Hey, Moderator. Hey, we don't watch TV in our house. We watch YouTube and Netflix.
Good point. I don't even know how to turn the TV on. Actually, in fact, I've been here for 4 years. I don't think I watch TV here. I pay for it, but I watch YouTube, Netflix, whatever.
Same here. Well, we cut the cable a few years back, and we don't regret it. We still have sort of one of those digital antennae because my wife likes to listen to the morning news while she's getting ready for work, and she's one of those people who grew up with the TV on in the house all the time. Okay. I grew up with the TV in the closet. So
you know what? One thing too, right? When we were all younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cartoons or television, right? For us as kids,
mm-hmm.
Cartoons were Saturday and Sunday mornings.
Yep.
Right. And except for like maybe the cartoon or something you'd watch, like back in my day around here, we had what was called Commander Tom. Oh, does that ring a bell with anybody? Right? Or Mr. Dress Up, or those types of things. But in the age of my daughters growing up, I got a 27-year-old and a 23-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
At the age of them growing up, it all started with all of a sudden there's a Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
And Barney, and all these different shows where all of a sudden the TV became a babysitter.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll be the first to admit it even happened in our house. Mama wants to get something done. Dad's at work. Park the kid in front of the TV. Kid's brain goes numb watching Barney dancing around the screen. And before you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And that's all where it's starting, right? Is all of a sudden the TV, that was the first part of the technology. And then it became a computer or a laptop. And now it's a telephone or a cell phone. So it's just progressing. What's next?
That kind of plays into when I was in university, what the whole theory of a hot medium versus a cold medium. Like TV is a cold medium. You can just sort of sit there and let it like wash over you and, you're drooling into your drink. Whereas if you go to a film, that's a hot medium. You sit down and you're engaged with what's going on. Maybe because of the whole event surrounding going to a movie. I don't remember because I haven't been in school in a long ass time. But TV is by definition a cool medium. There's no engagement happening, no matter what they try. I mean, okay, maybe you're watching the documentary channel or Planet Earth or something, but if you're watching your stories, the brain doesn't engage the way it does with film or theater. But what I don't know, because I went to school so bloody long ago, is what happens on this? What happens on YouTube? Is this a hot medium or a cool medium? I have no idea. But
Good question.
I'm getting distracted by what I wanted to say. If you plop your kid in front of a cool medium, it's a detriment to them. Whereas if you take your kids to the theater or to movies, that's not a detriment. The one detriment is if you go to a movie and it's bad, that's an expensive bloody mistake. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, it's true.
So to actually do a positive spin on this whole thing of today, and you guys would love this because it has to do with the most ultimate outdoor bushcraft film of all times, Dick Prenicky video, right? So I'm teaching these guys, it's natural resource skills. I teach them how to do ID for trees, plants, whatever. But it's near the end. We only got 3 weeks left, unless they go on strike, whatever. But but the whole thing is like why? And I'm now trying to teach them to be comfortable in the wilderness if you're going to work in the wilderness, because they don't get that. They're like, what do you mean I have to spend days on days on end in the woods studying wildlife? Well, that's your job. And I love this part because it's all to do with deep thinking. So we started off the day was, okay, we're going to do twig identification. So what do we need? I went, well, you need either a pencil and a paper and something to write on, because you're going to have to write notes and the test, or you can bring your phones and do the same thing. So I'm very progressive that way. I don't have a problem with their phones. It's what they're using their phones for, right? And it's with respect. So that has a lot to do with what all we're dealing with right now. And it's okay. Like, I don't have a problem. I'm not going to tell you to put your phones in a bin. I can do that. You're going to hate me. You can bring your phones out. So they're doing the notes on the phones, whatever. We do the twig ID. Then we get back in the classroom, and I have like 40 minutes left. I said, okay, I'm going to show you this film. It's about a guy that decided to live in the wilderness and make his own cabin. And you know the film. If you haven't, Alone in the Wilderness, amazing, right?
Mm-hmm. Watching it is like my comfort food. It's like a lot of the Ray Mears stuff. I watch it occasionally whenever life gets a little too...
And I got to say that over the years of teaching students at risk, whatever I'm talking about, if I needed them to be quiet, I just put that film on. It's like, oh, right? They just, right? Well, the one guy that's a bit of a problem in class, he always has been since day one. I'm hard of hearing in my left ear, but I hear something over, and here he is on his phone listening to a comedian thing, whatever he's watching during the film. I went, and my old person want to say, are you freaking kidding me? Because you want to say that. Are you kidding me? Like, after all we did today, you're watching that on there while all the other students are enthralled with this video.
Yeah.
The other side of the coin is, why is he doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he has addiction issues, he has mental issues. Like, that's why he's doing that. So I calmly went over to him. I went, I really think you would prefer to watch this right now, instead of me saying, what the hell are you fucking? And he goes, what do you mean? I went, no, look, watch all your buddies. What are they doing right now? They're watching this guy making a door out of a root. And he's like, really? And he puts his phone down, starts watching it. And by the end of it, the kid actually said, oh, that was amazing, Kevin. Oh, that was great.
Uh-huh.
If I did the other, like, get the hell out of my class, you're an asshole.
You're not going to connect.
It would get nowhere, right? But however, I got to say,
you have everybody else's attention in the class.
Oh my God! It's never a dull moment. I swear to God. But the thing is, you guys talk about a lot about bushcraft. That film, I got to say, it's one of my weapons. If I needed them to calm down, I swear to God, is it a full moon tonight in Ontario?
I have no idea, man.
It's snowing so damn hard here, you couldn't tell if there's a moon or not.
Oh, it's got to be.
We're supposed to have 18 inches by the end of the day tomorrow. So.
Oh, okay. So
why, Kevin, are you growing hair in places you don't usually grow hair?
No, you can tell. Yeah, my colleagues, we will joke about it when they are all going rangy. We're like, it's a full moon, and we joke about it, but I think it's connected. So yeah, it's Alone in the Wilderness, Dick Prenicky. If you want to calm the beast, show that them.
It calms the beast for me, man. There's like a whole array of stuff that I watch time and time again, and he's one of them. obviously a lot of the Ramirez stuff I keep talking about. You know, the one where he's building a canoe with Pinnock.
Yeah, in Quebec.
You know?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, that's on Sand Lake. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole that stuff.
Yeah, and just to make you feel better about that is I remember chirping with Ray Muir, and I'm a jokester, right? So someone broke a paddle on the trip, and I said, "Oh, Ray will carve one," and he went in the woods and he carved one. He goes, "There you go." Yeah, he knows his stuff. I got to say that about Ray. Actually, he's the real deal with that stuff. It was funny and stuff.
I had actually forgotten that he interviewed you on that other, you know, the Voyageur, the canoe.
Yeah, that was a great. What happened there actually was really kind of cool. Is that the producer, BBC, not him, his agents contacted the Ontario and the Canadian government about the series they're going to do.
Yeah,
and nobody responded. And then Becky Mason from the Mason family, she basically said, "Kevin, can you help out? Because nobody was responding to this." And I said, "Yeah, okay." So I basically helped all that happen on the French River. And 2 years, see, Dennis, see what happens, Dennis? And I'm drinking tea. Pine tea, for heaven's sakes, Dennis.
I'm drinking tea.
All right.
I'll be drinking beer during my last coffee.
And it's the truth.
And for those of you that are wondering about tea, coffee, we had an underage person on the panel, and that was the reason why we had Marie on as well. Her mother was just to show the consent thing, because a lot of people showed concern tonight about me having a younger guest on.
Oh, really?
In light of all the COPPA stuff, and
that was my only concern for you. But she's 14, so she's above the 13-year-old threshold. But anyways, I'm going to be prepared for my stream later.
Okay, I didn't know any of that. That's a really good conversation. So the end of the whole thing that is that the 2 years later they got back to the BBC after the 6 1-hour series of all across Canada about the history of Canada was produced by the BBC. True story, right?
That's the government for you.
Yeah, well, whatever. It is what, and it sounds negative, but whatever, that's what happened. But the cool thing is, I got to go out and trip with Ray Mears I never met before. So I met him the first time, and yeah, he was a cool guy. Like, he knows his stuff. Him and I had some good debates around the fire.
Is he a nice guy though? Because you know that whole saying about never meet your heroes. Look, I don't have heroes, but I've often wondered what it would be like to sit and talk with him.
When I got to say, when I tripped with him, I really enjoyed my time with him. I don't know him that well because I didn't trip with him that much to know him. But I will say he knows his stuff. He's the real deal. It is not a facade. When I said we broke a paddle, Ray will carve one, he carved the paddle, and we all left. The only solid debate we had on the French River was, he said the First Nations people never had a fire ring. We should just have a fire, get rid of the charcoals in the morning, and then leave. I went, yeah, I believe in that, but we're in a provincial park, a waterway heritage park here in Ontario. We don't do that here. And he goes, but we should. I went, no, we're not doing that. And then everybody started looking at me. But the other debate was, there's a scene in the blooper reel. If you get the DVD series with him, it's not on TV, but it's the DVD series. There's a blooper reel of him and I talking about my knife. And my knife was a piece of crap. I mean, it was. I mean, the knife I had at the time was a piece of crap. And so the producer said, well, Kevin should have a scene here. What should be the scene? Well, let's show Kevin how to sharpen a knife. And I went, yeah, because I need to know how to sharpen a knife. And the camera rolled, and he looked at the knife. He goes, this isn't a knife. You might as well bend it and put it on your wall and use it as a coat hanger. And I said something really negative back to him. And then they stopped, said, you can't do that. And I went, yes, he made fun of me,
Dukes are up.
Yeah. And he found it funny. It's just that it wasn't the mood of the documentary.
You're looking for.
The documentary was a very serious documentary in Canada, right? So, yeah. But yeah, I know him. But I got to say, I don't know him that well. I can say, oh yeah, I know Ray Muir. I'm not going to be that type of person. I traveled with him 3 times, and his crew was amazing. Actually, his film crew was amazing. The one guy, the film guy, that did all the filming for that, he just got back from a whole bunch of escapades that all of us, our jaws would drop. But he was the most humble person. I remember at camp, the camera guy goes, "Kevin, do you have a solo tent?" I went, "Yeah." I went, "Why?" He goes, "I just don't want to sleep in camp. I just want to be away from everybody." And it was filming is a very, very laborious job, right? So I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "But can I have the bear spray?"
Guys, I got to get out of here because I'm supposed to be on now. So
yeah.
Jess,
So-
thanks for popping on. I appreciate you popping in
Jess.
there. We'll try to go for a bit of a raid. I'm going to be closing shop up here shortly myself too. So,
all right, see you guys later.
talk to you soon, Jess. Thank you for popping in.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I got a quick question for you, Kevin. You might know this.
I feel bad. I took all this time there. Tell me to shut up, for heaven's sakes.
No. He Jess has a live stream on Tuesday nights as well. So
I watch it, yeah.
Anybody, if we got a moderator in that could put Jess's link up there shortly, that would be awesome. But Kevin, I got a question for you. One of my favorite canoe trips, Spanish River from Bisco Tasting down to like the elbow, using the Bud car.
Yeah.
Have you heard any information on that? Are they still like, I know Via Rail jumped the prices to like a ridiculous amount of money to load a canoe into the cargo car and stuff like that. Like it used to be like $20 for a canoe, bring your dog on, sit in the travel car to go up. Have they relaxed on that? Have you heard anything about that?
I got to check into it. I think just last year they could have, because they had some issues with that. The history of that, Wabakimi was the worst. The Spanish River trip was okay, but Wabakimi, they flipped the rail. So basically the train went the opposite direction. So when you were dropped off to do Wabakimi from Armstrong, you were dropped off at midnight, whereas before it was during the day. And so therefore you had to sleep along the track, where there was nowhere to sleep. So you just like sleep on the gravel until sunrise. And they did that because there's no profit. There was no money in canoeists going north, because we don't go north anymore. So there's no profit in it. So they don't care about us. The history of the rail system, though, they did. The whole idea of the northern rail system was they will drop anybody off anywhere, pick anybody off. Like as long as you do a signal, whatever, they'll pick you up. Like there was so if you talk to the rail people on the train, they will do everything for you possible. They were amazing people.
Yep.
If you actually phone or contact the system, good luck to you. I mean, I'm not knocking them. I mean, it makes economical sense. I mean, we're not going up there. So if in the old days for the Mississippi, the Albany River, they had a rail car specifically for canoes to be stored on it.
Right. Yeah.
Whole economic tourism boost, but nobody did it. So they're like, hey guys, like we're not doing it. So for that, yeah, there might be an issue. But they also got rid of the Algoma tourism along the Agua Canyon, but then they brought that back as well. So that might be a positive thing. So yeah, hoping that will change.
Because some of my favorite trips were like, going up to Bisco Tasting. We catch a train in Cartier and go up to Bisco and then paddle all the way back down to the elbow or something, right? Or catch the train at Cartier, go all the way up to Mizanabi, get dropped off, do the big loop, and train all the way back. And that was such a fun thing. Canoes go in the back, sit in the rail car at the back with the dog with a beer in your hand, and off you go, right?
Oh, it was great. The only answer for that is to give them more paddlers up north and put, money into tourism, and they'll do it. I don't agree with the whole money tourism thing, whatever, but that's the answer. But it's phenomenal to be dropped off rail, and for you to look at like, what the hell am I doing? And also the person on the train and all the passengers on the train looking at you like, why would he do that? Yeah. That's worth it.
I wish I had video footage of some of my trips back then, like Mizanabi, getting dropped off at Bulcal Lake and then doing the whole Mizanabi loop, or, the Spanish River loop, or Spanish loop, but Spanish River trip.
Yeah.
It's hard to do that now because I can't justify dropping, $200 to put my canoe on for an hour canoe ride.
It used to be $30. Yeah. Well, it's all started years ago when in Lake Superior, if you wanted to do the Sand River, you could go from Sault Ste. Marie, but that would be really crazy, long drive, long shuttle, too much money. Or you could go to, I think, Chartres, whatever. I forget the town. It doesn't matter the town. It's a small town. The town doesn't exist. You do this rough dirt road. You get to a spot, and they would be there. There was fishing lodge people. There was First Nations people, and you would wait for the train, and would cost you, I think, $30 actually to get dropped off on Sand Lake and do the Sand River down to Lake Superior instead of doing the whole Midgey area, which is all low water or whatever. Mm-hmm. And now you can't do that. You have to go from Sault Ste. Marie. Well, why would you do that? I mean, that makes no sense. So nobody does it. So it takes away that sort of sense of Canada. However, I don't work for the rail service, so there's probably administrators that would say, yeah, you don't have to pay everybody. What's your problem, right? And I don't. So, but I think that was the sense of Canada, is to be dropped off in the middle of nowhere with a canoe and go off in the wilderness, because that's what they did for you back in the day. And I think the operators of the train found that mystical and magical, and they thought that was great. So, but yeah, it's changing.
Well, that whole Bud Train thing, I remember for like probably within an 8-year span, the 3 years that we went up was always the same conductor guy that collected your money. It was like, I recognized the guy every single time, right? And yeah, man. So like, I really miss them days, because I really like to do the Spanish River again. Or I was just watching one. The reason why I brought this up too, because I was watching one of your old videos there on Bisco up to Indian over to.
That was a great trip.
Yeah, and over to what's the other lake there?
Indian.
No, Indian Lake, and then the one over to the east or the west of it.
Oh, the clear clue. Oh, that's amazing. Like,
oh gosh, yeah, I'm having a brain fart right now. But that there, I've done that trip, and I would love to do that trip again, because I've camped at the island that was across from the point there from the fireplace.
Yeah.
And by the way, why is that fireplace with the fire opening facing the lake?
I have no idea.
Did you ever realize that?
Yep, I did. I think the locals told me his tale. I don't. The story behind that fireplace is that one of the princesses from the UK came over. Yeah, and they built an entire lodge for him to visit while they were there. And the black flies, when he got off the train in Biscuitace, and the black flies were so bad, he got back on the train, and he never visited. So the locals all went, whoever built the place said, I'm pissed off. So they burnt the place to the ground. So I go, that's a great story. I got to see this place. When I got there, I looked at the landscape, but I have been told it's all water dam based. So those lakes are all dam controlled.
Yeah.
So in theory, back in the day, there was no dam on that lake. It's not Indian Lake. It's a lake just west of it. That would have faced and been on the pre-Cambrian rock on the lake, or they're just lying to me. I'm not sure.
Ramsey Lake was the other lake that I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
The lake that goes down from the dam. I remember the one year, it was the last time I was actually up there. We camped right at the dam. Don't ever camp at a dam on high water, because all you hear is water flowing. Constantly drive you nuts.
One of the funniest ones, the one I never put on my guidebooks, was the Mississauga River up by Ogoma. Is a fantastic trip. The lower Mississauga, I'm not sure how to pronounce it properly, but below the dam, that Archie Blaney, supposed to Powell, whatever. But I mean, there's signs everywhere. When you drive that road, you can see the river. It's amazing. It's a beautiful river. It's all encroached by massive cliffs, whatever. So my buddy Andy and I decided to paddle that one trip, and of course the warnings, Ontario Hydro saying, we can't not control where you camp because the water. What is it? Yeah, whatever. And we camped. It wasn't until the second night. But we camped the second night. We're like, what's that noise? Run away! Yeah. And the whole river was flooding over this delta that we were camping on, because the delta, gravel delta, looked like a really nice place to camp. And when it came to writing it up, I said, I can't write that up, because people are going to kill me for, oh yeah, this is lovely. It was a beautiful river, but the river changes water levels. Literally, it rose in 6 feet in like 3 hours.
I've never seen a rise like that. Never.
Oh, that the Dolorban-Suggy River is all dam controlled. If you do the upper, that's fantastic. In fact, from Biscotasing, if you go from Biscotasing all the way to the dam, that's one of the most wilderness trips you could ever have. It's a crazy shuttle for your vehicle. But I remember, my gosh, I've never seen anybody on that trip. But I remember the one day we saw a loon with its chicks. And of course, never approach loons with their chicks because loons will abandon their young on a second like that. They're I don't know why it is, but they'll abandon their young. So I'm backpedaling and the wind's going towards the chicks. We're like, oh, I can't make this happen, but we couldn't help it. And sure enough, the mother loon takes off and the northern pike goes up and swallows both chicks, right? I was like, oh, shit. And oh my God. And then we're making camp that night and the mother loon is wailing off in the distance and almost like, I'll kill you, Callan. I'll kill you. But it was the most wilderness experience ever. And the one night also we couldn't find a tent site because it's all bush stuff. Like there's no tent sites, whatever. There's no signs, no portage sites. And we put our tent underneath a First Nations shelter like that had been made. And then the next day, the water on that, going to water levels, it dropped, and we saw an urn with embers in it, and it was a First Nations elder that they had tied to a cedar, and that was his favorite hunting grounds. And yeah, so we found that, and I got the number, and I talked to the persons, and actually it was really cool that the cousins they had literally lived just up the road from me here, and yeah. Oh, I'm blabbing on. See, I told
no. It's interesting.
I told Christian said Kevin.
That's what overtime is all about here, man. This is where our chance to converse and pipe in, right, Sty?
Yeah. Oh, I'm soaking this right in. This is a storyteller's dream, boy, to sit and listen to somebody else's damn stories for a change.
Like you might as well give me a walker, for God's sakes. It's terrible.
Oh gosh, no walkers allowed in here, not yet. Not until I'm ready for one myself.
Oh man, what's this whole thing? So I missed all this too. Like, so basically, you were worried tonight about having youth on your channel. So I know what's going on in YouTube about the young whatever. And what I did is I did click on saying my content is adult content.
Right.
Even though I would say that it's not, but I'm not going to. On the other side of it, at least they're actually being ethical. I mean, there's a lot of weird crap on YouTube.
Right.
So I don't know the answer, but do you really think YouTube would have a problem with your live feed tonight? I don't think so.
Well, the only thing I was concerned about is right now everybody, the whole hot topic is this whole COPPA thing, right? And understandably so, but that doesn't take effect until January. Right. And they're still working on all the details and things of that sort. So I'm not too concerned about that. But the one thing I was worried about tonight, and now Martin had brought it to my light today. He sent me a text just saying that he popped in a little earlier. I believe his wife is just getting back from out west. So
Martin, that's no excuse.
Well, I don't know. He's been without his wife for a few days. He might need a little catching up, right? Anyways, but he was mentioning something about alcohol consumption. You know how we all like to partake, maybe with a little toast or a cheers or a beer or something on.
That's why, Dennis, I never lit a smoke during all my time on the panel until her and her mother were well off of it for a while.
Right. Thanks, Ty. That's awesome.
But for the same reason is because they're looking at that. You mix alcohol, tobacco, and kids.
And that I know that's a YouTube strike type of thing, right? So that was a concern, and that was one of the reasons why I had asked Millie to have her mother on panel too, was just to show consent that her parents consented to have her on the panel, which was incredible. And Marie has popped in. This interview with Millie was supposed to have happened about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And because of her time zone, she's supposed to be in school right now, right? Right. So she asked if she could reschedule, and I said, yeah, by all means, like, I understand, right? And we kept communicating throughout the whole process, and her mom, I don't know if you've seen, but from week to week, her mom has come on the chat, and I know what the reasoning for that is, to check out to see, like, what is Canoehound's Outdoor Adventure Show about? Is it just a bunch of old perverts on here, or is it a bunch of guys that really are talking about something interesting and worthwhile and legit, right? So I appreciated having her on, and that's why I invited her mom on, was to sort of be an on-screen moderator to any questions that might come about. And
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, it's like more about the parental consent, because to me, 16 years old is old enough to consent, not 14, right? Yeah. In my case, I would even say in my case with my daughters, 18 or 25 or 50, So, but I just wanted that reassurance, and it was actually great having Millie's mom on, because she really did. She shed a lot of light. She answered a lot of questions too, and obviously she's very proud of her daughter, and she stands behind what her daughter is doing, and she's got a great family support system there. So,
yeah, and that you showed that, right? I mean, so as her as a youth person, she probably was a little uncomfortable at first with her mom being there, but then of course they bonded for sure, and everything was fine, and then Sty didn't smoke, so we're all good.
Yep. And the bourbon didn't come out, or the scotch right away, so that's all.
Everything I've been kind of off of YouTube for a few days this last 2 weeks, where I've done nothing but read, and I talked to my own attorneys about this whole COPPA thing. And with your video, with your stream tonight, Dennis, the absolute worst case you would see, there'd be no strikes, no flags, nothing. They may not allow people to see the chat. They may not allow people to see the chat, and that's it. That's all that could happen, based on everything you've done through your stream. So and that's the whole thing with YouTube rules. It's a huge uproar and scare, but people have to understand YouTube. I mean, for crying out loud, when you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in fines they paid,
170 million
to the FTC for not meeting COPPA regulations. What they did was to meet those minimum standards of COPPA. They put the monkey on the creator's back and said, you tell us whether this is for children or adults. And then if the FTC comes after your video and you said it was for adults, but you did it to attract kids, the monkey's on your back, creator, not on YouTube's anymore. We're not paying your $42,000 fines for doing something simple by just saying this is for adults, and I'm not advertising it out to kids. So, just follow their rules. It's their platform. It's not. We don't own nothing here.
It has to do with the whole where the money's coming from, the advertisers, right? So, YouTube wouldn't exist if they don't have our. I'm really not an expert to talk about this, but I do know that I have Whiskey Fireside Chats. I have Gary the Puppet, that's really weird. And also I have Speedo Man, that's really, really weird. So, but the thing is, I look at my market. I know that 13-year-old kids are not watching my videos unless their parent says, this is really funny, you should watch this.
Right.
So I have no problem pushing that button. No. I do realize other people would have the problem because they're like, well, no, YouTube represented freedom. We could experiment. We could do whatever we want. Our art is free, whatever. But then there were some people that did some really weird shit, right? And it all comes down to like, no. So there's goods and bads of it.
Yeah. The thing is where I run into an issue is when people try to politicize this issue, because you don't have the freedom of speech on YouTube. This is not the Constitution. This is not the United States. You aren't protected under those freedom of speech laws. This belongs to a corporation called Google, and it's their choice what you put on their platform. They can tell you, shut up. And you can go freedom of speech, and they'll go, you want to bet? Click. You're gone. Because they own it. They own it. We don't. Now we could go and film our own stuff and put a screen up in our front yard and show it in our front yard and say freedom of speech.
Yeah. You know what? We don't have much time left because my wife just sent me a text. We're going out for chicken wings and pizza tonight. Woo!
You and your
you always do
every Tuesday after her bowling. After all, she is the athlete in the family. I got to keep her happy.
That's why he picked.
But you know what? I didn't want to turn tonight into a COPPA conversation. But while we're on the topic, people in the chat can pipe in. Where do you think us as outdoorsy content, content creaters, not really geared towards kids, where do you think we will fall within this whole scope of the over publicized COPPA right now? Like, are they going to come after bushcrafters? Like, kids might. Millie's 14 years old. What's to say a 13-year-old doesn't want to get into bushcraft and follow Sty or Kevin or myself? That's
my channel, Sty Story Sundays. I had someone say, "Oh, well, you're going to get nailed because of the title,
stories." Yeah,
Sty Story Sundays. Kids will want to come here to the story. I'll tell you what. No, look at the title of the story, and usually you can tell that ain't a kid's story. What I do is that I look at my analytics and I look at the lifetime of my channel, and I don't have a single, it doesn't give me any percentage, not even a fraction of a percent of viewers under the age of 13. It gives me 0.4%, but between the ages of 18 and 14. It's not for kids. 100% of it is from the ages of 25 to 54.
Yeah, it shows though. I have a lot of kids, young kids that come up to me and really admire my channel and stuff like that. And they even like Gary the Puppet, right? But I'm 100% sure it's because they're watching it with their parents.
Yeah, you're not inviting kids.
Who is Gary the Puppet? Is that Andy?
No. We should have a show all on Gary the Puppet.
You know what? I could have Gary the Puppet as a guest on here one night.
I asked Gary.
That would be hilarious.
Yes.
That would be hilarious.
All up to Gary.
Oh, Gary. If you really want to get the biggest laugh of Gary, watch last year's Christmas special we did with Gary when he came to visit me during our Christmas holidays.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Dennis! Like, my life is so freaking weird. So we're filming that, and the last scene was we've had enough with Gary. Like, you can make why we have Gary. I work sometimes with Bushcraft Media, which is a film company, and they just do film stuff, whatever. I hang around with them, I know them, and then the marketing guy Phil gets really bored, and he just brings Gary out, and we do Gary videos for no reason except just because he's bored. But he's really funny, but he's also very inappropriate. But you can be that if you're a puppet.
Right.
Right? So we did the Christmas special. Two things happened. Okay, I'll tell you the one thing I would never tell anybody, but because we're very secret right now. Okay, so really funny story. David Lee, really great guy, does amazing stuff on social media. Passion Paddler, great guy. Oh, you paddle with him, right? No, Dennis, you paddle with him, didn't you?
Who?
Passion Paddler, David Lee.
No.
No?
I don't think so.
I thought you did the Tachapika River with. No.
No.
Okay, never mind.
Sorry, I was just typing. I was just replying back to.
It doesn't matter. Here's the funny story. So one day in social media, I'm in the canoe world. And the real person behind the puppet is really freaking weird too. But what happened was Passion Paddler. He posed a photo of himself nude, looking at a fire. You could see his buttocks. He was completely naked. It was at night, and it was on social media. So I went to those guys, and I was working with those guys one day, and I said, and they're not canoeists at all. They're just on film, and they have nothing to do with our world, right? And Phil, which is the puppet, he goes, "What the hell? Who would do that?" I went, "Well, it's just him. Like, I don't know. Like, that's what he does." And he goes, "Oh no, we need to do a Gary puppet video on that." I went, "No, don't knock the man. He's done really good things. Don't knock the man. No. So I know you need to go going, but it's a very important story, Dennis. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
So,
you know what? I think I will message you, and maybe if you could put me in contact with Gary the puppet, maybe I can approach him, and you never know.
he won't.
No. No.
All right. So to quicken this up, because it's a really funny story. You have to watch it. So last year we did a Christmas special. So the scene was the Birchbark guys were here, and we're all having a good time at Christmas. And then all of a sudden the door rings, and it's Gary trying to invite himself to the party. And that's funny. That's funny because we don't like Gary. We can make fun of Gary, but whatever. I've done safety videos with him with ice. You can make fun of a puppet. You can't make fun of a human. So that we're all having fun. We don't want Gary to be here. We've all had those parties, right? And then Gary decides to get wild and crazy, and he gets naked, and he's walking across the Christmas tree naked. And then he goes in front of the campfire, and he goes roasting his chestnuts on a rope and fire. It's really, and then he looks at the camera, and he goes, "I'm a passionate paddler." And I said, cut, we can't. You need to know the story, right? I went, no, I don't want to knock the man. He's a really good person. We don't want to do not knock that person. He goes, "The puppet can do whatever he wants." Yeah. So then the next scene, and you can go for wings after this, but this is the best scene of my life last year the next scene was, okay, so my scene is I've had enough of them, and I'm going to throw them out the front door. So we decided to do that. At that moment, could you imagine at my house, right? I live in a small neighborhood. I have a film crew with 2 cameras, a boom box, a mic, everything is at the front door, and I'm tossing this naked puppet out the front door. Watch the video. It's freaking hilarious. And then the young kid down the road that delivers paper to me, he's the nicest kid in the world. He's the most, "Hi, how are you doing, sir?" He's like great, fantastic. That's when he decides to show up, is when I'm throwing a naked puppet out my front door with a film crew surrounded around me. And he's like, "Oh my God." And he walks away, and I know his dad. His dad is an outdoor educator, so maybe you understand. But I contacted the dad, and I went, "I'm so sorry." And he goes, "What are you doing in your house today?" I went, "Just an average day."
Just an average
day. I got a naked puppet. I got a film crew. We're making fun of some guy that's posed naked on his Facebook. And he goes, "Okay, Kevin, whatever."
Yeah, as long as you keep it indoors. Yeah.
Hey, Sty, you got a challenger over here for storyteller by the bonfire. You know that, eh?
That's why I've been quiet tonight, man. Yeah, I watch his fireside whiskey chats, and
I'm going to be on that one day. I have to drive to Peterborough to do it though, because we have
someone else. Like, oh, you're so.
I'll bring a nice bottle of scotch. I'll invest.
You'll invest.
Yeah.
The entry fee.
No pressure, Kevin. No pressure.
If you go to my place, I'm going to throw you out the front door completely naked with a film crew. Okay.
That's awesome. You know what, you guys? Tonight's been a great night. I really enjoyed having our guest on. Sty, of course, always one of my regulars. The only regular that wasn't on tonight was our good friend Martin, of course.
Martin,
who I finally got to meet in person, Kevin, at the Winter Camping Symposium.
Oh, I didn't think you. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you knew him. Okay.
No. Him and I, we connected here through YouTube, but finally got to meet him. We sat beside each other for all 5 presentations. He introduced me to some people. We went to the after party, and we got to communicate with a bunch of people, made some friends. Jim Baird, great. Was there, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, and of course David Bain and Matt Olson that put on the event. A couple of great guys for sure. Yep,
that's fantastic.
Yeah,
it was good. Yeah.
And then, of course, the best part of the day, though, and it was really something cool, is we have on panel tonight, or on in the chat tonight, we have Mama Bear's Backpack and Daniel Mailot and Brian J. A bunch of us, we went back. We had a tailgate party at the lunchtime. Daniel brought the barbecue. Somebody else brought chili. I brought some hot dogs, and we had a great time at the lunchtime. So it was really nice meeting you, Mama Bear, Karen. And Daniel, of course, it was an awesome night or an awesome day.
For sure. Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's fantastic. Shoot. Okay.
Yeah. Christina had her tent that she just made set up at the symposium.
I wish I could have seen that. Oh.
Yeah. Jim Baird brought his dog Buck. We're working on. I'm working on Jim right now to get him as a guest on the show here within the next few weeks. So that's awesome.
Jim,
are
you listening?
Oh.
I've been on numerous times. What is your problem?
Actually, I spoke with him on the phone for about a half an hour last night. He made me jealous because he was outside having a bonfire.
It's a lie. You live in an apartment in Toronto. Did I throw you under the bus, Jim?
I don't know. He probably had a bonfire at his balcony, if I know him.
I'm just joking.
But yeah, that was awesome. Jim's a real stand-up dude. He had Buck with him, and I've never seen such a laid-back dog in my life.
It's because the dog is dead. It's stuffed. He just brings around on shows.
So if you want a good watch, if you want to see part of the symposium, I'll have a video up in a couple days, but I didn't have the full presentations. Look up Jim Baird and check out his presentation from the Winter Camping Symposium, because he's got his whole Baffin Island trek on there, and it was funny, and it was dramatic, and it was very informative, and very like the scenery was incredible. But it was a great presentation for sure. And some of the other stuff on there was great too. So that's all awesome. Anyways, guys, I got to close this up for the night. Thanks.
Real quick, you want me to post Jess's link?
If you could, Sty, that would be awesome. Yeah.
There it is, guys.
Once we close up shop here, if you want to go check out Rain Dance Bushcraft, he's got a live stream going tonight. Do a Canoehound raid. Type in Canoehound raid and show the guys some love. To Millie and Marie, I appreciate them coming onto the show tonight. Be sure to check out Millie's site, the Bushcraft Daughter.
Yep.
She hasn't got a lot of subscribers, but I got a feeling that's going to start growing pretty quick, because what she's doing is a very interesting thing, and it should be a good watch for anybody that does check out her channel. Don't forget to subscribe to Canoehound Adventures, of course. I've got new adventures coming up. I'll have a video posted in a couple days about the Winter Camping Symposium. You get to see some of our favorites on there: Camper Christina, Jim Baird, the guys from Paddling Adventure Radio, stuff like that. Those guys are cool dudes.
No, Sean needs a haircut.
He needs a beard cut.
Yeah.
He's got to pull it back up again. Sean, if you're watching, sorry, buddy. But him and I hit it off really well as Derek. We'll be talking about them in the near future. Upcoming events. Anybody that's in Ontario, you want to get your tickets for the 9th Annual Backcountry Canoe Symposium in Kitchener, Ontario, which is on April 4th, 2020. And tickets are on sale now. Get them now, because they will sell out. And when they're sold out, you're on the outside looking in for sure. Happy Thanksgiving to any of our American friends that might be on the panel or in the chat tonight. That's coming up this weekend, right? Black Friday is coming up. There we go. Let's see here. And next Tuesday's guest is none other than Camper Christina is going to be joining us. Yes, Christina and I had a good discussion there at the camping symposium, and I am looking so forward to having her on. It's like this is a woman month. Women empowerment, right?
Yep.
Yeah, whatever.
Dennis, it's a person. It's a person month.
Person month.
Person month.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we got to be politically correct in this.
No, that's not politically correct. That's just being nice. Just
okay. But Christina's an awesome person. We chatted for a while. we hung out in her tent. She says, "Come on in, have a seat." She had her tent set up. That's all awesome. Anyways, guys, thanks for coming in tonight. See you next Tuesday. Get on my Facebook page to find out what's going on, and we will touch base. Remember, keep the adventures alive, everybody.
Hey, good night, you guys.
Stay on panel for a sec, guys.
Can I like switch from tea to whiskey now? Like,
Go for it.
Yeah, you're going on.
Don't sign off, you three yet. Everybody else, have a great night.